Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call the meeting to order of the Governance and Priorities Committee. So I'm glad everyone's here with this rain and snow. Makes the roads a little bit challenging this morning. Hopefully it doesn't get much worse. Additions to the agenda. I had one brought to me by Dale. Do you want to mention it?
Yeah, I'd like to talk about the purchasing and tender policy. I think it's 014.
Okay, so we'll put that under corporate services, I think, Trista, right? Would that work? 8.2?
And I have one other one.
Or 7.8.2? Okay, and one other?
Yeah, I have one other one. That's financials.
Okay, so do you have yeah, go ahead, Trista.
Yeah, is that different than the item that's already?
I see that.
Yeah,
on the
it's
agenda?
there. And are the financials on there now?
No.
Okay,
So the request was to discuss the frequency and how
Oh.
that was going to be presented. So that's what's
okay,
on the
we'll
agenda.
discuss that then.
And then following the council meeting is the orientation, which is the finance orientation.
Okay, good. Thank you.
So we don't need that then.
Yeah, so it's on there already. Thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else with additions to the agenda? Brian? Greg, I mean.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to add an item 11.4 to committee reports, council committee reports, and it's about the LILSA, L-I-L-S-A committee. And then I can explain when we're into it what that's about.
What is that? L-I-S?
L-I-L-S-A.
And that stands for what?
Lake Isle and Lac Ste. Anne Committee for Water Quality and Water.
Okay, that's enough.
Yep.
All right. We'll figure it out when we get to it. Thank you. Any further additions? Okay, if not, I'd need a motion to accept the agenda, please. Dale, all those in favor? Carried. All right, adoption of the minutes. So we have the minutes in front of us. Everyone's had a chance to go through them. The November 6th minutes. So actually one that we were at, so this is good. Any discussion on that, errors or omissions? If not, a motion to accept those minutes. Mike, move to accept. All in favor? That's carried. All right, so now we go to our public input session. Trista, do we have any people? I see nobody here in the room, but nobody online that's willing. Okay, thank you very much. Just for those of you that are listening, we have the public input session at our council meetings, including the governance and priorities. And you just have to let us know if you want to speak. So with that, we'll dispense with that and move on to operations. So 6.1, the monthly report. I guess that goes to Greg, right? Or Brad? All right, thank you.
Morning, thank you. So yeah, just like every month, we have this operations report. And again, I will kind of breeze through it a little bit and summarize for you. And of course, as questions come in, feel free to ask and get what I can for you. So as we go through this 1.0 respective, the one thing I kind of want to touch on there, you're going to see further, if you haven't seen already, in a foreman report talking about how many work orders were closed, and it doesn't match up with this. So this 1.1 graph, it only encompasses what was generated for work orders in the month of November. So that's just the November generated in progress and complete. When you are referencing the 86 completed further down in the foreman report, that some of those work orders go back a few months, weeks, wherever. And that's just things that are continuing to be picked off that are, some of them can't be done instantly. We got to wait for, sometimes we have to discuss it with you guys and various reasons why they aren't done yet, but that's just for that clarity because I know that question will come. I'll get out in front of that and just let you know that this 1.1 is just for the month, what were generated. On that as well, in your package that we gave you, it kind of has the work order summaries, but there would be a lot of redacting in there with names, addresses, and everything. So that's just so you can actually see what it is without us having to redact all names and addresses, but you can look at it. And any questions on those as well, I'd be willing to go offline and chat with anybody about those. Next, we just have our kind of our road ban and permit summary, just giving you the update on where we're at on the haul permits, road use agreements that come in. Again, I'm breezing through pretty quick, so it would stop me if you have questions or anything. Foreman reports. We have both foremen kind of put together what was happening for the month, and then further part of their input goes into the ongoing projects and where we're going to go. So you have a general foreman report. Included in that is the historical trails of kind of where they've traveled in the month. Unfortunately, I can't pull all the data for a 1 monthly map. It's got to be in 2-week increments. So that's why you see 2 for each one. I'll stop there. If we have any questions, comments on the general foreman report so far.
Anyone? No?
Okay, thank you. And then, yeah, it moves on to the greater foreman report. Same kind of thing, kind of gives you an outline of what's been happening. And again, if you want me to go more in depth on this, I can. It's just, it can be a time eater, that's all. That's why I'm breezing through, so. Complete with his historical trails. When we get into 1.3, talking about our program and project updates, obviously it's a bit of a weather season where there's not massive projects going on. It's a lot of planning and budgeting happening. So I will get into this one a little bit with the gravel program. We're in the winter phase. We've kind of got, started to get our ducks in a row of where we're, well, not started, it's more than that, but where we're going to go. And we're looking at about 84, 85 miles to get going for the winter portion. We try and get to 40 to 50% of it done in the winter. Of course, it all depends on weather and everything else. Then there's a breakdown of your miles per division for the winter side of things. Again, we base a lot of this on road bans when they're going to come up and proximity to pits, and formulate a plan on the best way to tackle the winter end of things to make it better in the winter, as opposed to what makes sense to do in the winter as opposed to the summer. Next is our shoulder pull program. So again, that's kind of in the planning and budgeting phase. Right now, we're looking at a focus of about 8.25 miles to do coming up. And again, this is, we'll see where this all goes, but that's kind of our tentative plan, hope and ask to be able to do that much. 133, our traffic counting program. Again, this kind of takes a bit of a back seat in the winter as the monitors have to be planted underground, and we know it can be a little bit tough to get them in the winter. So, so you can see the charts with the road counts by division and traffic counts, which kind of bleeds into the speed monitoring program. This is one we can touch on a little bit, and if Greg has anything to add to this, he can. These two places kind of came in due to some ratepayer concerns about speeding and what we can do to mitigate it. And the data came back kind of showing that maybe it wasn't as bad as we thought potentially. As you see, this Winkleman Beach speed limit, 40K, average speed was 40. And again, they aren't always perfect numbers, but it kind of shows our the peak speed hours and number of speeding vehicles. I guess 35% is probably pretty high. Not ridiculous, but something that we probably don't like, but
So is that anything over 40, like 41 is speeding?
I believe it actually says anything. Where did I see that? Maybe
Well, you
Greg-
have plus 50, so that's 35. So
Yeah, there's a chart that actually highlights. There's actually a chart that we can generate that highlights, and it'll say like 40 to 44, 45 to 49 in that realm. We can break it up to whatever segment you want.
I think it'd be interesting to see something that's say 20K and over,
We can provide that.
because 10 maybe isn't that serious, but if you're 20 over, then you're, you know,
Yeah.
that is a real safety issue.
So I'll add to that. So the county owns 4 of these speed recording monitors, and they're the ones that are on the side of the road, and they show you your speed as you're
Yeah.
going by.
Yeah.
They're actually owned by Community Services. However, they have been gracious enough to lend them to Public Works and Enforcement to utilize in this type of environment. And we do try to move it around so we can kind of get ideas everywhere. So these are 2 subdivision areas that have had issues over the years, and that's why they're in the locations that they're at. So how do we utilize them? We will utilize this data because if the data shows us that Friday night is a problem, then Dallas will probably enact some forces on Friday night and try to train some people to behave more appropriately. So they're good data collectors that we can try to be responsive to, but they don't, how do I call it? They don't fix a problem, that's for sure, but they can help us.
Good. Any other questions? No? Okay, keep going.
Okay. Winter road maintenance. I mean, it's at the time this report was put together, these were the numbers on the dispatch 3 times. I think we've doubled that in the last couple weeks here. It hasn't been a ton of snow, but it's been weird conditions that have caused some icing and a little bit of snow. And so it's been a little bit less plowing, maybe a little bit more sanding, trying to keep hard surfaces going. Gravel roads, again, it's a little bit in between here at the start of the winter season where you want some of the moisture to pack in. So when you're blading snow, you're not just rubbing gravel off, but still have to get after it at times. So there's a lot of blade changing back and forth between winter Sandvik blades and snow blades. And we've been kind of jumping all around right now with the weather that has been dealing with us. But on that front, our responses have been pretty good, I think, as far as being able to get trucks out and having material and graders to get things done. So continue to look ahead at the forecast, but as we know, it's not usually all that accurate, but we try to plan around it as much as we can. Yeah. Questions on that?
Dale.
Well, no, I don't, not that part, sorry. Next one.
Okay, cold storage update. Construction is underway, began in October. Yeah, that's about all we really have on that right now. There's some options to speak to it a little bit, but.
I'll add just a short bit to that. So it is underway. We did have the safety incident that we reported to you guys at the last meeting. We just received information today that the stop work order is being lifted, and they're looking to schedule a meeting to commence construction again. So that's all that I know right now. We'll find out when that meeting's going to be.
Okay, thank you very much.
I've got a question on 1.3.7.
Yeah, well, I think that's the next one.
Yeah, that's okay. So we've read it. So I think we can get right into the question, to be honest, Councillor Johnson.
Just one question on the building. When do you project that as being completed?
Originally, before this stop, we would have been probably close right now. So I'm thinking with this, I'm going to say once they get going after our meeting, it's probably only a couple weeks until they're finished. That's typically their timeline is.
All right.
The hard stuff is done, I guess we'll say.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
So my question might be more directed to Greg, but so I need to be brought up to speed on this 540 because it all seemed to kind of didn't fall into place for me. We had a development that was approved and started in July, then approved in August, and then now we have a road that was approved in September. I'm just wondering, like, it seems to be fairly fast. Like, I don't understand how, and I know from in conversation with you as well, you said we don't build roads no more, yet we're building this one here, and I don't understand. I don't understand how that all happened, and I need to get that in my mind. So if you can help me there on that, describing how we managed to, first of all, get it done so quick. Second of all, that would be how we managed to get a tender out and back, and all happened prior to us being elected.
Yep, no, I can answer that question.
Okay.
This project probably goes back to well over a year ago as far as the starting of the planning of it. It would have been, I don't have dates in front of me, so I'm going to talk in just generalities, but I can provide those dates once I go back to the files if you wish. So I go back to last winter, the previous council, we had brought a motion forward that there was some funding available through the province to fund roadway construction projects. This was a good candidate. It hit all the criteria. So we asked council for approval to apply on that grant. We did apply. And I'm guessing it was about late May, early June. We were successful in receiving that grant. And the idea at the time was we do nothing unless we receive grant money to help us with that. So the grant money was 50% of the project cost. The rough project cost was about $1.8 million. So once we received the grant, it's about 900,000 for the county and about 900 for the grant that we received. So at that point, council, when we received approval, had asked to, okay, giddy up, get going. We proceeded into design immediately. Like I said, that was about May, June. There's criteria in these approvals that certain things need to be done. It needs to be engineered appropriately. It needs to be tendered. It needs to be all those things. I can get you those particulars because we actually sign a memorandum of understanding in order to receive grant money. So design was kicked off in June. I think it was, I want to say August when a tender was released. And I think it was before the end of August, early September. And again, I got to get the dates when the tender was received and it was awarded. And then we proceeded into construction. So we were commencing construction probably right through the election process, but it was all approved by previous council with all the funding arrangements. So we proceeded on those basis. How did we construct it so quickly? It was a greenfield construction, so we didn't have to deal with much existing stuff other than there was a lot of peat on the project that we did have to deal with. We had a good contractor, a local contractor that was involved. He threw a lot of forces at it, and his plan was, because we were starting late in the year, his plan was to finish prior to freeze up. And he's done that. We are now right this past week was kind of last past 2 weeks has been cleanup works where they've been, leveling topsoiling, putting in new fences where we'd taken old fences down and site restoration. And I believe it's today, tomorrow that the graveling process commences for it. Are there any questions I'm missing from that?
Well, not that you're missing by any means, but I just found out, I went back in the minutes and I just found out now that you said you were talking about it almost a year ago. But in the minutes, they correspond only to approving the project in September. That's what I read by the minutes, unless I'm reading it incorrectly. And that.
Sorry, I'm
motion was by
not
just-
following you. Talking about me approving the project or council
No,
or?
no, I'm just kind of, I'm trying to put the flow together because by what I read out of the minutes show that council they did a bylaw reading in one meeting about approving the road, right?
Yep.
In September.
Yeah.
But what I'm hearing is that there was a lot of groundwork done before September right, for this project that's not recorded that I could find unless I go back probably a year, which maybe I might have to go back that far.
Yeah.
I'm just saying the flow, and it's not administration I'm upset with, don't get me
Yeah.
wrong here. I'm trying to understand how that happened, how, and from a standpoint of looking at the minutes and a standpoint of looking at the bylaw, it appears to be a very short timeline. But today I've got an explanation that it's actually a longer timeline than indicated by the minutes. So my point is that when we do things in the future, as this council, we're going to make sure that, in my personal opinion, we give you the go ahead to say, start looking at this, record it in the minutes, so that the public out there can see we're starting, so that we don't get you in trouble and we don't get in trouble, Louis, about
Yeah.
incorrect procedure.
Yeah. So I can, Trista wants to talk on this one too, but I'll just quickly add into it. I assure you, administration does not proceed without approvals.
Yeah.
And I know through the summer months, the council meetings are at a premium. There isn't very many of them. When we get into those situations where we're under crunches and timelines, it's often in the past where we've talked about we need to get this in front of you, but we don't have a chance to. What's the consensus and what are we going to do? And so if you're looking at that September meeting, it was probably a condition that was laid out earlier through all of council of, yeah, they're all in favor, proceed, and they'll ratify it later because of timings. You can't just put the brakes on and all of a sudden we get approval in January to start and it did us no good. So I assure you, administration doesn't do any commencement without council directions. And that could be where the difference is in the minutes.
And I think, Greg, my point of this discussion was to show the people out that are watching what we're doing.
Yep.
That that's not happening, right? Administration is not doing things without council telling them. And I think that was very important.
Correct.
Okay. Trista and then Carla.
Yeah, I was just going to add, if you allow us a little bit of time, we can go back and mine the previous minutes because I'm only making an assumption that we had the project initially a preliminary approval to apply for the grant. And so that's when those discussions would have initially started. So if you just allow us, we can pull all the historical data.
Okay, Carla.
Yeah, I'm just looking at an agenda item here in regards to is on April 3rd, 2025. It's to do with 2025 capital budget version 6. We do have some written verbiage in here in regards to this project, and it reads as such. Township Road 540, Range Road 31 to 32 road construction. We have moved this project to 2026. We have applied for the grant. However, we will not know until midsummer if accepted. We will bring back to County Council for formal approval. We did apply for the resource road grant for this project, which is approved in principle at a county planning meeting to proceed. However, actual council motion has not been completed yet. And that's why we took it. So it was discussed in a planning meeting.
So what date was that?
April 3rd,
April 3rd of this year.
last, this year, yeah.
24,
this year, yeah,
25,
25.
25. Okay, Trista.
I'll just add, and we can look back because I don't know the dates for sure, but the planning meetings at one time weren't minuted. And so there would be the background information, but there wouldn't have been anything as far as a motion
But
from the
but
planning meeting. From the council meeting, there would be.
motions have to be made in council,
Yeah.
so they got to be in the minutes.
Yes,
Yeah.
right. But they would have had a planning meeting that may
Yeah.
not have been minuted.
Okay, Carla.
So further that, I will take a look at that. I apologize for that. I will take a look as well too, because we maybe have brought it back to council on the
Yeah.
approval to go forward with the grant. So I'll look at that as well too.
Okay, Bill.
Did I hear you correctly when you said it wasn't going to be started till 2026?
It was moved, the budget, had moved the budget amount to 2026, but it was all dependent on whether we were successful with the grant. And we were approved for the grant in 2025. So if we didn't have the money for it, right, if we weren't approved for the grant, we wouldn't move forward with it.
Okay,
But
where
we
did
did
the
get approved
extra
for the grant.
$900,000 come from?
Some of it came from debt, about $334,000 from debt. The balance of it came from, I believe, the one of the grants, the LGFF grant, I believe it was. Yeah, so it's grants and reserves, so about 600 and some $1,000 from the grant, and then about 334 from debt.
Just one, and I think I'll get to you right away, Barry. But I do have a question. I think one thing that Dale raised is really, really important in this is we were told, in fact, Greg, you told me that we do not build greenfield roads anymore. So why would council approve a greenfield road there when others are not approved? That to me is a pretty major issue. And then when it gets done relatively quickly, it is a little bit concerning to me. And I know it's the previous council, but I think this is something we really have to understand. How does that particular 2-mile stretch get built when others get refused?
Yep, I definitely have an answer for that. So the clarification on we don't build roadways. Public Works, all our own forces, we do not build roadways. We'll do shoulder pulls and we'll do graveling, but we don't have construction equipment to build roadways anymore. And that hasn't happened for long before my time.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah, but
the
you built
change.
this one.
No, hang on. So what I'm going to explain the whole picture to you. So we internally do not build roads with our own equipment and our own forces. Yes, we do get into building roadways through tendered projects with contractors when council gives us the direction to do so. Project roadways in the past would be Township 590 a few years ago, this roadway here. So let me talk a little bit about this roadway here, because the background noise I hear is, oh, why would we build a road in the middle of nowhere? This is actually a very important roadway. So this is a link that's missing in the area. Sorry, did you have a question? Okay, no problem. So it's a very important roadway in that sector because there's a large farming operation there now. It used to be kind of a farming commercial operation, but that went away and a new owner came in. And we're surrounded by subdivisions and oiled roadways. Oiled roadways are not good structured roadways for heavy machinery, equipment, trucking, etc. They're very detrimental. So that operation we were struggling with to keep any of our oiled roadways together there. 540 East is blowing out continuously, 30 going north, blowing out continuously. So by providing that link, we now have an access in there on gravel roads, which are much easier to maintain with heavy equipment to get that operator in and out and have that done. So that's been a struggle the county has been fighting with since the first owner was there many, many, many moons ago. And so to be able to be successful with the grant, that's when council moved and said, hey, here's our best chance to get this done and maybe save money on the other roadways. So did I clarify the point about we don't build roads?
Well, I mean, obviously you do build roads, and I don't see a difference between contracting and doing it ourselves. I don't think there's a difference. Certainly
There's a huge
the
difference.
process
Actually.
is different, but it's building roads.
Yep.
Doesn't matter who builds it, right?
Yep.
And I guess my only argument here is when someone else builds a house somewhere or has a business and we refuse or say we can't build a road to their place, you have to look after it yourself, even though it's on road allowance. Why would we treat different people in a different fashion? Your explanation, I get it. I get the explanation. That previous council made that decision. But I think we got to be very, very careful to carte blanche say we don't build roads when we actually do.
Yes. So I will add to that if I could, because there were some questions I saw in your answer there. So the previous developer that owned that large farming operation that was in there was a condition in his license that he was responsible for helping with that roadway. That operation went belly up, so to speak, I guess is the right term. And then it was auctioned off and sold to a new owner. We didn't have mechanisms in our bylaws and policies to transfer that to a new owner. Because the new owner came in and rather than a bit of a commercial operation, it was a full farm-fledged operation. So that is why that one didn't get supported by that industry as a developer. Our land use bylaw is clear that when people want to develop land, whether to create a 50-lot subdivision or whether to create a 1-lot subdivision with a house, it's on the responsibility of the developer to extend that roadway to where they need it. purpose of that is, case in point, why would it be a burden on all the taxpayers to pay for a roadway way over here for the benefit of one developer? It's common in the industry. This is not just something Lac Ste. County does. It's done in all municipalities, whether it's municipal or urban, that when development occurs, the cost of infrastructures and the roadways are on the developer. And then once they're done building it, they hand it over to the county for operations. So that's why we traditionally say we don't build roads, developers build roads. It's in our bylaws and policies.
Yeah, but we override it clearly.
Sorry,
We do override that policy clearly.
you can change the policy.
Yeah. Well, we didn't change the policy. We overrode the policy in this case.
Sorry, I don't see
The
where
policy's still there, you told me,
the
but
policy is.
yet
still-
you built the road. So
Yeah.
you overrode the policy.
So yes and no. Okay,
Well,
again, I
I-
tried
it's
to.
Pretty clear,
No,
yes.
okay,
Sorry.
if I tried to explain it to you, but obviously I didn't explain it appropriately. We had a developer that was there earlier, and they did have in their development agreement that they had a responsibility to pay for a portion of that roadway. That developer went into receivership and the property was sold to a new developer. The new developer was a farmer. We don't have the mechanisms for the farming community like we do for developers, so to speak. And therefore, we couldn't leverage that new owner to now take up that responsibility to build that road. It was council's direction and administration's that if we could get grant funding for it, that'd be a good way to solve a problem for our oiled roads. So it's a big picture thing. It's not just a one item.
I have a question.
I think Barry had one first.
Can I just, it's
Okay.
on this topic and then you
Yeah.
can take it from there, Barry. Okay, so you're saying that we built the road to appease the developer. It's not a developer, it's an
Farmer.
agriculture farm. So we are appeasing the farmer to build this road? Is that correct?
No. So yes, it allows us to push the farmer to a roadway we can maintain easier. Like an oiled road blowing apart is not very cheap to maintain. By getting that heavy heavy hauling equipment off our oiled roads is going to be a savings to the county in the future. Because we road ban those roads, but he was landlocked, so we had to allow him to travel on those roads, and then we're the ones that pay for it. So no, he's not the only beneficiary. The county is also a beneficiary.
I guess my point is, it wasn't a developer that we're trying to appease here building that road. It was a farmer.
Trista?
I think I can appreciate where council's coming from and the questions that are being asked. I go back to the comments that were already made. It was a previous council decision and administration acted on that direction. So if we can, as I said before, bring the background information to you, then you'll have the actual info.
Fair enough.
Okay, I had a question for you. Who did the engineering on the project? And who's been inspecting it as it goes along? Because I looked at the project a couple weeks ago. It looked like crap. And I'm not a road builder, but I wouldn't have put a road there.
So we had, I think it's called DA Polachuk was our engineering engineering firm that designed it for us. They were, sorry,
Who paid for it?
we do through the funded project.
Okay.
Do I further answer your questions? Okay, so we had a consultant on it. As I mentioned, it was DA Polachuk was the consultant. They are responsible for site supervision throughout the entirety of the project. We also supplemented with some of our staff on very regularly, almost daily basis, checking in on it as well to make sure that our interests are looked after. From there, did I answer all of your questions?
I'm also curious, who's going to be responsible for the road when it blows apart? Because I'm pretty sure it is going to with the amount of water I've seen sitting on that road when they're trying to shove trees and dirt on top of the peat moss and the water laying on top.
So actually, all construction jobs, you make a large mess before you clean up. This one had a lot of peat in the area of the roadway structure. So the peat was removed. We had arrangements with the adjoining landowners to do borrow pits for good material to put in. So bad material was removed, good material was put in. The cleanup works I talked about was all the cleanup of those pits and materials afterwards. density testing was completed throughout the project. At the end of the day, I think we did get a good project. There also is a warranty period with the contractor it was attended. So we have a warranty period if anything goes wrong that we can fix things as well if we can find that they are contractor related. But being that we did a total removals of bad materials, I don't anticipate we're going to have a lot of problems. But I don't have a crystal ball, so I can't predict that either.
Dale?
Well, I think we've had good discussion. Thank you very much for explaining that. I think I recognize that for sure. The whole process fell apart when there was a development agreement with somebody, that somebody went bankrupt and we had no way to complete that. I think what we need to do is we need to send this back to the MPC. And we need to take a look at that to make sure that if there is a developer that's going to do something, that rather than an overwater or overland water caveat, put a caveat relevant to the cost of the construction of the road, so that if things go sideways, we at least have something during the sale of the property.
Trista?
Absolutely, we can do that. I'm just thinking timelines. If you're wanting to review that a little bit closer, I don't know that it needs to go back to MPC. It can just be a direction of council to review that piece of the land use bylaw.
Well, I think, with respect to timeline, we have a timeline here where there was a problem that was started 2 or 3 years ago, right? So I think we can deal with this quick enough to avert another problem 3 years down the road, so.
Yeah.
Mike?
Is there is there a way to keep these, if the development guys got this process like he was supposed to pay for the road, can we attach that to the land titles, that if they go bankrupt and it gets sold 4 or 5 times, that is still attached to the land titles?
I'm certain there's a mechanism that we could use. I'm not sure what that is, but we can definitely look into it because that makes sense to me.
Okay, Paul?
I was just gonna mention that I believe we should get a thorough review brought to us by Trista so we can review it. And in the meantime, any additional work on that project should be put on hold until we can confirm that we're going down the right path here.
Trista?
I can let the gentleman speak to this, but I believe we're too far along in the project to stop at this point. We're only a couple of weeks away from it being complete. So that would not be my recommendation.
They're already graveling, Bo. You might as well finish it off now.
Okay, then definitely, I think we need to review this project, how it was handled, and in the future, we're gonna make sure it doesn't, it follows proper procedures throughout the process.
Trista?
My little defense here. I think we followed the correct procedures as per previous council. If this council wants to change those procedures, there's mechanisms in place that we can do that. But administration followed the direction of council.
I think that's good, Trista, but I do also agree with Bo that if we get a good timeline of how the process was and how it went, we can then assess it whether or not we want to change that process. And it's not to change what's already happened. I think all this discussion was clear. We can't reverse what happened, but I think we want to learn from it because as you notice, there's a lot of questions being asked. And so we want to find out, how did these decisions arrive? And if we find that maybe they weren't the decisions our council would have made, how do we ensure that that doesn't happen the next time? I think that's what we're talking about. Right?
As well, we have a 5-year capital plan. It wasn't on the capital plan. It was brought up on the capital plan. So there's a whole bunch of things that this council is going to do differently than the previous council, as you're probably already seeing. And, we need to substantiate those things. We have traffic counts, which are going to help us make those decisions. We have good people working for us who are going to make those things happen. But we have to have a good process here so that we can guide you. That's what it's all about.
Okay? We good on this? All right. Continue on, Brad.
Okay, thank you. 2.0, we just kind of delve into the next 30 days and again, weather dependent, but plans are always in place to on how we're going to deal with inclement weather and continue that way. 2.2 kind of touches on what else is happening here as far as like I mentioned before, a lot of the budgeting and planning phase of where we're going to want to work through in the coming year. So on that, I believe that's all I have for you on the report. So any further questions, I'm open to those now.
Okay, thank you. Dale?
So your projects or programs and projects ahead, you'll have that in plenty of time so that we can address it when we do the budgeting?
Yeah, absolutely. There are a lot of the budget numbers are kind of there already and we're just buttoning it up, and yeah, you'll definitely see it for sure.
All right,
Or
thank you.
not just see it, be a part of the discussion.
Okay. Further questions? All right, so what's that? So we want to accept that for information then? A motion to accept that for information? Jill? Discussion? All in favor? Carried. All right, so next is the snow plowing policy, private snow plowing policy. Trista, are you dealing with that or is Greg?
I won't. I'll allow Greg to. The point I do want to make though is that if we get into the nitty gritty and names and specific ratepayer information, then I'd like to go into closed session if we need to go down that road.
Okay, you feel the whole thing needs to be in?
No, I think there's some open discussion first, and then
Okay.
if we go down that road, then we can move into closed.
All right, so there's a fairly lengthy, or not lengthy, but you all read that. Is there any recommendations you make to us that we should be changing the policy, or are you good with the policy? Next, I'll ask council on their comments.
Again, I'll let Greg maybe add to this if necessary, but I think that we are looking to amend the policy to include the compassionate program. Right now, the compassionate program is just operated based on a motion several years ago. And so to incorporate that into policy, if council wants to continue providing that service, that would be my recommendation.
Okay, thank you. Greg?
Yeah, so if I may, I'll introduce this and why it's here. So and at one point in my conversation here, I'll actually ask Councillor Gifford to speak as well, because he had brought forth a question to us that he wanted reviewed here this morning. So I really see this agenda item. We've thrown a lot at you here, but there's really three distinct different items I would like to look at and address with council. That does not mean I want an answer today. It's just kind of introduce it to you. We can think about it, and then maybe we can get the policy adjusted and see what the direction is from you guys. So number one, we have some questions from Councillor Gifford about some what I classify as specialized private driveway clearing that we have. We have two in the county, both reside in Councillor Gifford's area. Then we have the compassionate snowplow program, which I'll brief on our understanding of it. And then we have our snowplow paid program. So we utilize the policy in the paid program to look after the compassionate. The major difference there is we don't actually charge the ratepayer that. That is a service that the county elects to do for those ratepayers. As my understanding, where does the compassionate program come from? It comes from councils past who felt that there was many long-term ratepayers that have paid a lot of dues to the county over the years. They were maybe elderly or not as functional as they used to be, and could use some help with that service. And then the county would do so. So how did we manage the compassionate program in the past with previous councils? We would vet what our prior year approved systems were. We would provide that information to each one of you councillors as per your divisions. You would go through it yourselves and check off, yep, that still applies, or no, this gentleman no longer lives there, or whatever reasons, and add or delete. And then the system as well, we would receive questions coming in. Most of the questions would come in through the counselors as, can we add this person in? Can we add that one in? So that's the compassionate program in a nutshell. Then we have the paid flag program, which I think you are all used to. Ratepayers can pay for the service, and then we get to it and clean their driveways when we have time to. I qualify that when we have time to, because our responsibilities at the beginning of the day are to our roadways. That is our MGA responsibility. Private driveway clearing is not in our must-dos, but it's in what council would wish us to do. So our program is, we do our roads first, and then once we're done our roads and they're all tidied up, then we go back and we will execute the paid program or execute the compassionate program. So both those programs are built around the ability to utilize our graders while they are out there to complete this work. So there's a criteria that our grader has to fit through the gates. It has to fit on their roadway. We're not jeopardizing close to power lines and things like that with this very large equipment. So there's some criteria that it has to meet. And that's in the policy that we showed you. Getting back to, so there's 3 distinct different programs there. Is there any questions on those before I proceed with the 2 in question?
The specialized clearing though, that's not a grader.
That's
Right.
correct. So
That's where my questions started with it.
yes,
right?
so I believe it was last year, maybe even have been the prior year, but we have 2 residences that asked for compassionate clearing. We don't fit in the criteria to put our graders in their lands to do it. So we had actually rejected them from council, or from our perspective, and said, well, we would like to help you, but you failed the program. You're probably best to utilize private contractors. We were then directed by council to, no, please find a way to make this work. So we have to send out a skid steer. So that's a truck, a trailer, and a skid steer, and forces to do those 2. Our truck and trailer and skid steer are busy on other municipal properties, and so it is out of the way to do so. The problem always comes in, whether it's one of our biggest problems in all 3 scenarios is all 3 scenarios are not our primary duties. Our roadways are our primary duties. If I was to look back and say, what is our primary complaint of all of our systems in the winter? Our primary complaint is we don't get to our driveway plowing fast enough and efficient enough. And so it's problematic for public works. They are always under fire for works that, we leave to the last for good reason. If we have a roadway that can't be opened up, yet we've got all the driveways opened up, that doesn't make much sense. So that's why we have a pattern in how we complete these works. So again, I think it was Councillor Gifford, and I'll let him speak. I believe he was asked by the ratepayers if we're going to continue with that specialized service this year. And so I'm looking for discussion from you guys and how you would like us to proceed with that.
Just one question before we carry on here. How many of these specialized compassionate ones are we talking about? Is there a handful or is it pretty many?
There's 2 right now.
2.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be more economically feasible just to hire somebody to go in there, a contractor to do the clearing instead of tying up our equipment?
That was our suggestion to the ratepayer when we rejected the service from our graders, was they'd be best contacting a private industry to do so.
But that's at their cost.
Correct.
Krista?
I was just going to clarify, the question was the number of the special cases or
Yeah.
the number of compassionate, because they're 2 different.
Specialized compassion, where they go in with a bobcat. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, specialized compassionate, where they go in with a bobcat and a truck tying up resources.
Is it Brad? Oh,
The report we got here, is this the passionate cases on this report here?
Yeah, that's right. That's the current compassionates. And then at the end, there's a couple requests, and those are the ones that, if we want to discuss those, we should probably have a closed session. There's two at the end of the package I gave you that are requests that have come in this year so far to us. I'm not sure. It doesn't encompass if any have come into you guys yet or not.
Okay, so my understanding, anything that's in existence now will stay in existence? Is that the plan?
Nope, that basically is up for discussion with council to decide.
Oh, okay, 'cause I had-
So as of right now, I'm carrying forward with what's there, but if through discussion with council, we will change, do whatever your direction is on that.
Yeah, I had a call this morning about this exact thing. So, all right, thank you.
Just a quick question. So those two on that last page, those are in addition to the two that are there.
Correct. That's the
Yeah.
two requests that have come through to administration through my
Okay.
clerks. Yeah, so that up for discussion. They have not been done in the past, I
Yeah.
don't believe.
Okay, Mike?
Just a question, who does the vetting, like, to make sure that they meet, I've seen something about,
So
doctor's notes and stuff like that.
essentially, council, there's a couple, like we talk to, our grader operators and get input. Hey, do you know anything about some of these? Is there any that you know that maybe they've moved? But ultimately it's, council directed.
So we're supposed to go out to their houses and look and talk to them?
No,
Okay.
sorry, I'll add in on you.
Let's
Sorry,
clarify that.
Brad.
Hey,
So
Greg?
I think your question is more who looks at the criteria. So yes, when we get an ask for a snow plow or a compassionate, we ask them to sign in a form, a declaration form that says, oh yeah, my driveway's good. We then send out the foreman to go check because many times it's not good. And so we do a dimensional check ourselves. And then that's reported back to our clerks and they'll note in there that the driveway passes or driveway fails. Our clerks also accept the data because in the compassionate program that was approved by council in the meeting stated that we needed a doctor's note essentially and request. Those we make sure we have those so that when council asks that, yes, these people have ticked off all their boxes and they're good to go. And then we get you to vet them from there for going, yes, they still exist or no from previous years. Did that answer your question?
So the process is, let's say for this year, I don't believe this was in our package, so it's just brand new. I haven't had a chance to peruse it. So we would take our division, look at all those names, and then get back to whether or not they qualify.
Not necessarily if they qualify. We've kind of done the
Well,
qualification.
Qualify, but
It's more what I would say the ask of the counselors is the counselors are more in tune as to who's in their divisions. So if maybe a member that was on the list has now moved away or is living elsewhere, we look for that direction from council. And then often council knows about these compassionate ones before I do, so you're bringing them forward to us for additions.
Yeah.
But we still vet them as the snow flag program. We still vet them for the doctor's notes and that way, I guess.
all right, but we as counselors sort of approve them every year.
Correct.
All right. Okay, I just want to be clear on the process there.
Yeah.
Because I think it's good that you do have the policy for doctor's notes and so on. And then we know it's our responsibility to go through the list and check them off.
You bet. So at the end of the day, what I'm looking for is some clarification on these two specific.
Yeah.
The dangers of those two is, are they going to become 10, 12, 14? I don't know. That's my worry. But I would also, we do want to update the policy. Our policy doesn't really talk about the compassionate, so I would like to get the compassionate into the policy. But as well, Public Works and myself want you to understand that it's not always a bed of roses out there when it comes to these particular activities. But we want to work with you in getting the policy the way you want to see it, get it changed, and then we've got clear direction. But that doesn't need to happen today. I think if
Yeah.
we focus on the two today, that's kind of what we need.
All right, so the two, not these additional two, just on the first two. Well, these are new requests, though. Yes. So I think we're talking about the ones in Ed's district and not these two. Okay, I just want to be clear that we're clear with that.
Well, we're talking about the two that need the skid steer brought out to do their driveway because their driveway isn't big enough for the grader. The ones
Yes.
on the back
Yeah,
of the
but,
page.
but these are as well.
No,
No?
those are just, those
What are
just
these then?
added.
Oh, they're.
Yeah, they're not, so the
Alright.
the colored list is current compassionates that we have been
Yeah.
doing that have passed our
And
vetting
those are
process. Those two are
Wow.
new that, yeah,
Okay.
we're just,
Well, that's why I want to clarify it.
For sure.
Make sure we're
makes sense.
all on the same page. So Ed, do you want to just talk?
So
on-
time wise, gentlemen, you guys have the skid steer loader, you're doing other municipal properties. So we're just talking time from whichever municipal property you're at to their residence, unload, plow, reload, next property. We're talking, what, a few hours in a day? 4 hours?
So you're absolutely right. Can we work it in? Yes. My concern again, there's many concerns. Number one, does 2 become 10, 12? That adds to that issue. Where the clear issue comes with any driveway clearing under either one of the 3 silos we're talking about here is when we get them done. Often when it does snow, it'll snow on Monday and we're into Wednesday and we haven't cleared the entire county, and then it snows on Thursday. And then we haven't cleared the entire county and it snows on Sunday. So now those driveways on all 3 of those silos are waiting well over a week to get done because we keep having to revert back to our roadways. That's where a lot of heat gets applied on us because we have to get the roadways cleared. That's where our number one risk of accidents are, on roadways, not on people's private driveways. So it's a big thing that I'm trying to provide you information with to help us with the decision.
I agree with you. Like, where does it stop? I guess the one that brought this all up is, well, into the community for many, many years, they're elder, right? The question I asked them is how quickly is the snow ever removed? And they said sometimes it takes a long time. And what their concern was is if there's a medical issue, right, an ambulance, or they need to exit the property, right?
Yeah. Mike?
What's the total cost to the county on doing all these compassionate cares? Do we have a estimated cost on that? And how many times do we go out there? Like, do we wait until there's like 16 inches of snow on their driveway before we go out? Or do we do it every time we drive by? Like, is there, or is there, we do it once a month, and if it needs to be done more often, maybe they got to contract it out once in a while. Like, maybe there's ways we can circumvent some costs there.
You bet. So the snowplow flag program that we have now, which all of these things run under that program. Maybe I'll mention it to the snow flag and then get to the compassionates and show you how they tie in. So any ratepayer might buy, say, 3 clearings, might come in and pay for 3. They're logged in our digital system that they have 3 on the system. Now, they will call us when they require it to be plowed. We just don't automatically plow them every time we're by. We wait for a call from them and then we initiate, okay, they've paid for 3. We're going to get that one done. That one's now done. They have 2 left. We manage it that way. The compassionates are very similar, but we also ask our operators to keep an eye on it too, right? If maybe they haven't called, but it looks like it needs to be done, we'll try to interpret that because we're trying to provide a little bigger service for that. So do we have costs? I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, we moved our snow flag program from a manual program to a digital program. The manual program used to be you buy a flag, you go out and you stick it in your ditch. The guy comes by, if he sees it, he plows and he picks it up. We had many issues with that. Is number one, it was really difficult for us to know how many snow flags we used during the year. And because people had them from prior years and things like that. So it was difficult to monitor with data. We moved, and it was also not safe. Having our graders at every driveway get in and out and walk through the snow and pick up a flag is a safety concern. So we moved to a full digital program for safety reasons, and it also allowed us to log data. How many times are we touching each driveway? How many times are we touching each compassionate? So we now have data on that. I don't have it in front of me right now. It'll be provided to you in a report that says how many times each compassionate was done. Some are probably done more often than others because somebody in the east might have had more snow than somebody in the west, but we'll know each ratepayer how many times we touched it for them. So I don't know if that answers your data question, but we do have data costs. We can generate costs for that. Years ago, the snow flag, not too long ago, the snow flag program was $25. And, we do have some driveways are 30 minutes plus to get in there and clear. Some are 5 minutes, but it's a straight rate. Didn't matter what you do. Problematic is, the time on the driveway is different from the time to get to the driveway and get it done. So you got to kind of monitor all of it. So at one point in time, we were able to get a price increase from council from the 25 to the 75. Main reason was we couldn't run our equipment and get full value back based on the $25. I would argue there's probably some graders now or some plowed driveways now, we're not receiving full value back, but it's a set rate and it's an average over the county, right? We can generate a rate with the new equipment, with the Bobcat and truck and trailer and all that. We can generate that. We haven't because we've just had the two and we've just tried to make it work. Again, my concern is once we start doing it, will it snowball and is it something we want to do? In the past councils, and I'm sure you guys are the same, I look at snow flag program of why is the county taking away work from local contractors? I think it'd be good to provide that program to them and let them worry about the timeline and keep us on our roadways. But I also get the understanding of helping them out from your perspective as well. But it comes at a cost.
Okay, thank you. Trista?
I believe Donna has done some research on this before, but I was just doing some Googling and there's several programs in the province that are operated through FCSS departments, mostly a volunteer-based kind of program for snow removal, the Snow Angels they're calling it. But Parkland County has a different program where they're paying or providing a subsidy to ratepayers. And that might be something we can explore if it's a cheaper option to do it that way. I'm not sure if it's funded through FCSS or how it's funded, but we can look into that. There's some good information on their website.
Okay, that'd be interesting. Yeah, thank you for that, Trista. Mike?
The guys that need special removal with the skid steers and the truck service, have we approached them about if you don't make your driveway big enough, we can't do it, or you have to get contractors in? Because if that's the problem, the driveway's not wide enough, why are we're spending thousands of dollars to haul equipment around the county when, like I said, option A, you widen your driveway so we can get in. Option 2, you maybe go to a contractor service. Because like I said, it will snowball into, could be hundreds. And it could take months to clear these driveways. We are going to get bombarded with complaints.
No, you're absolutely right. It's, we did, as I mentioned earlier on in the presentation, as administration, we rejected these two and said that, best to fix your driveway or get a private consultant or private contractor. And that's when we were directed by others to try to make it work. So we did.
Mike?
I like that subsidy idea because there is a lot of private guys that, try to make a living in the winter pushing snow, right? So, and we're taking work away from them, if we subsidize them. Plus, you wouldn't get all the complaints about driveways, which I understand individually it's a priority to them because they can't leave their house. But as a county as a whole, it's not really. If you can only get to the end of the driveway because the road's snowed in, it's still not a win for anybody, right? So I don't think it's fair that you guys field a whole lot of calls for driveways being delayed. So.
Yeah, I think you're onto something there. And that's one of the ideas I'd like to present to you. It needs to be vetted out more, but maybe we look at the compassionate program separate from the snow flag and chip that one off to start with and go, can we farm that to local contractors? We maybe pay them for that or subsidize it somehow, but we have some criteria around it that, when it's required, it's done within the first 3 days or 2 days. It takes it off our backs when we're busy for 7, 10, 15, and 20 and does a better service and maybe even cheaper than running the equipment we are ourselves.
Just another question, like the liability of bringing our, $600,000 grader onto a private property. And now you're, let's say he misses a corner and goes too far and cuts their well off or whatever, right? Like it's a big piece of iron to run around in some of these yards. So it might be might be a good option to look at a subsidy program and get smaller equipment, little 1-ton trucks to just push a little driveway quicker.
Ed?
Back to the two specialized, I guess maybe there's a way we could look at, and I'd be willing to look into it, like a sponsorship for those two, like through the Legions or the Veterans Associations. Like that's where some of this is stemming from. If that's something where it could be sponsored and they just hire a private contractor through their sponsorship, right?
So
Alleviate it from us is what I'm getting at, right?
can I just summarize this a little bit? I like the direction this is going, but I'd like to just summarize it that maybe we get a staff to take a look at something like a Snow Angels program, how that would function, whether we subsidize it, whether the FCSS subsidize it, private organizations subsidize it, and we encourage that where all that work gets done by private business. So I think that would create an opportunity for some that already do snow removal and maybe some others. And then like the idea of having this done quickly helps everybody, and it keeps our equipment away from it. Our equipment does the work that they're designed to do, because it's inefficient to run a big grader into. I do a bunch of yards around my place with a skid steer. It's an easy thing to do. I just do it for my friends. But I think this can be a business for people that can help them, cost us less money, and help our residents. So is that a fair enough thing to ask of administration to bring this forth and bring a proposal to us that we can then discuss and eventually approve? And that would cover all three. I would say it covers the Snow Flag program, covers the compassionate and the specialized.
Okay. No,
So-
I agree. We will do that.
Yeah.
In the meantime, what I would recommend is we stay status quo so that nobody is not turning anybody away until we get it figured out.
Absolutely.
And then that way Brad knows what his expectations are. We'll bring that back. I do believe Donna looked into the FCSS and funding last year, so we'll roll that data forward and look again. Yes, we will bring that back for you.
Okay.
So let's
Al?
get this, excuse me, let's get this in the right order. I make a motion that county council receive a discussion on the private driveway snow plowing policy and compassionate snow clearing guidelines for information, and further direct administration to incorporate the amendments that we've discussed and present a revised policy at a future county council meeting for consideration.
I'll accept that motion. Any discussion on that motion?
It's a good question.
Question?
So we'll keep that program, we'll keep the program going then for now. Like, let's say we get,
Absolutely.
if we get a foot of snow overnight, you guys will still,
Yeah.
so these guys aren't stuck?
Yeah.
Okay.
Greg?
Can I just add to that a little bit, Dale, to allow us to bring back to you guys proposed system, because there might be a few options.
Oh, sure.
Then we'll pick the system, then we'll revise the policy, then we'll continue on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in the discussion. We've got what's in place for now, so there's no panic. We don't have to get it done tomorrow, but we do want to work on it. And I think this, it's a good way to move forward. We'll see where we go. All right. All those in favor of the motion? Opposed? Carried unanimously. Thank you very much. That was I think a very fruitful and helpful discussion, and might be something that helps everybody as we move along and make your job easier, Brad. All right, let's move on then. So we're on to enforcement services. Dallas.
Morning, Mr. Chair and Council.
Morning.
For having me today.
All right, today I brought forward our third quarter report for our Enforcement Services Department. I have put some information in there just to give you a better idea of what our call volume is, our stats from previous years, so it gives you a better idea what we're looking at as well for it. So page number 3, I want to go on statistics with you, and there's a few key points that I would like to bring forward. This year, our officers have written 1,478 tickets or citations, which is a total of $329,205 with revenue generated. I'm going to bring forward to you guys as well that 47% of that revenue does go to the province. And the reasoning that it does go to the province is it actually hires our prosecutors and so forth. We're not hiring a lawyer to fight these tickets, but it's also for the Crown and our prosecutors out there to prosecute the tickets. So on the bottom flow chart, you're going to see comparisons from year to year. And then I will open it up to questions if there's any questions on that page of why our numbers are down this year or vice versa.
Okay, questions?
Quick one. So just to get that in context, if you go and come to my place and give me a ticket for animals running at large, 47% of that goes to the provincial government?
So let me correct myself on that. Provincial citations, if it has anything to do with a bylaw, the county gets the full amount of the ticket or the citation. So the dog at large, for instance, is $250 fine. If you plead not guilty to that charge, the county now has to hire a prosecutor to go into court with the officer to fight the ticket if needed, or the officer attends court and tries to make a deal with the person there. That full funding of that ticket comes back to our revenue, does come back to the county. What we're talking about with this entity is traffic citations, no insurance, provincial statutes.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
Excellent. We'll move on to the next page. So we're going now into the third quarter. So during the third quarter, our officers have written 504 citations and 140 warnings, with a total fine revenue of $110,189 for the third quarter. What I want to point out to you guys is that we do, like I said, 504 citations, but we are issuing warnings as well. And how we do that is we actually look at people's histories. They might not be ratepayers here, but anybody's driver's history that we pull over, if they haven't had a ticket, or if it's someone that has a GDL driver's license, we take consideration and do give out some warnings as well. The total value of the warnings I do have as well. I could get to you. I don't have it in front of me at this present time. It shows the top, I guess the top stops in the provincial statutes. You can see the top one is exceeding the speed limit. So then it just breaks it down for you. Any questions on that one?
Questions there? No. Go ahead.
No? So the next page that we flip over to is the top categories. It's not all the file work we do, but these are the top ones for the third quarter. You could look at it. There's 11 land use bylaws, 6 animal control bylaws, 17 unsightly properties, so forth and so forth. Total incidents throughout Q3 is we had 366 reported incidents with us or reports opened in Q3. And that's not including your traffic stuff. This is just bylaw. One thing I would like to point out on this page is we do have a 24-hour dispatch line. It's taken us this year to get our ratepayers to utilize it. And I wanted to show you the stats on the bottom there, with our dispatch line being the most used as we speak today, so we're gaining ground on that for the ratepayers to utilize that and get a hold of our officers immediately.
Okay.
Any questions on
that? That dispatch, does that go through the 911 dispatch, or is that our own dispatch?
So we have our own dispatch line, but it is at the 911 operator's dispatch. Yeah.
So we pay them a fee.
That is included in our dispatch fee and monitoring for our officer safety. So we are linked to fire, ambulance. Right. We're linked to the RCMP. We're not calling 5 different lines to
Yeah,
get
good.
dispatched. If we need help or if fire needs us, we are capable through that end as well.
All right, good.
Just curious on the dispatch complaints, are those gathered and monitored somehow?
So what happens when it goes through dispatch? If you were to call 780-785-3630, which is our complaint line, you will get an operator in there, no different than a 911 operator. They will take the information down, generate a file. The file is then dropped down to the officers in their car if they're on duty. So yes, they are tracked. So every call that does come in there, whether it's how many chickens I could have on my property, whatever you want to say, or how many dogs, there is a file generated at that point, and it is followed up that way, yes, and tracked.
And what happens with that file after the complaint?
So at 1071 is our complaint. Dispatch will come on our radios and say, hey, I have a 1071 waiting. And then one of our Tango cars, because we are Tangos with them, will take the call. The file is started by our dispatch line. It is dropped down to our software in our vehicles, and then it's investigated by our officers further and so forth.
I guess my question was, does it go any further than that? Do we retain that for data purposes?
We have to by law, yes.
Thank you.
So those are all stored in our database. Yes, sir.
Good. Any other questions? Keep going.
So the next page I'm gonna flip over to, you guys might find it interesting. This is stats showing you what divisions are the busiest in a graph form. As you can see, Division 5 is quite busy. Our Mayerthorpe area is busy as a contracted service, and our Division 4 and so forth and so forth. Any questions on that?
So Bo, you've got the trouble people.
I guess I got a question. Why? Is there a common denominator here?
Well, I think we have a lot of populated residents in that area in the sense of subdivisions, and we do have a lot of our local hooligans, in a sense, living in that area that we deal with on a continuous basis.
Now you see what
I have hit
Yeah.
both those, yes.
That, it explains everything. So,
So the next page, if we're moving forward here, it gives you an indication of when we are busiest. Our enforcement department is busy, and this is Q3 stats. Once again, Monday seems to top the charts in the amount of complaints, and I think this is going to get better throughout the process, because what has happened is that previously is people would wait until Monday to call. And we're trying to encourage our ratepayers to call our dispatch line. That way, if we have officers on, we could initiate the response immediately instead of waiting until Monday. And if it's a noise complaint, it's pretty tough for our guys to investigate a noise complaint when it comes in Monday and it happened on a Sunday night or Saturday night. So that's just what this reflects. Our busiest times for complaints coming in is between 12 p.m. and 6 p.m. on Mondays. Any question on that? You can see the days throughout there. So you can see that Friday's 18.5 and vice versa.
okay, any questions? No, keep going.
I've got one
Oh.
question.
Okay, Bo.
Just curious, do we allocate resources accordingly to that chart that shows Division 5 in such bad shape?
So we do with reporting, we try to get the heavier crime areas. But again, when I move into this report, I'll show you our contracted service and what hours are allocated and how much manpower I have and so forth. But yes, we do focus on certain areas in there that have high crime activity and make more patrols through those areas to deter that. We work closely with the RCMP, whether it's Parkland and Mayerthorpe, to enter these properties without search warrants and so forth, and work extremely close together on that to clean up these properties or get on the properties.
Right. One more question. I have a ratepayer who has mentioned to me several times that we have an issue with our dumps, our waste.
Yes.
With people breaking in there to steal whatever they can steal during the evenings. Are we looking at that from your perspective?
So my team is very due diligent in looking at this, because it's not only here, it's throughout the whole, not Division 5 or Hillcrest or vice versa. So one, we are out there protecting our infrastructure and making sure, people are not breaking into it or our roads are not being damaged. So yes, they're monitored on a continuous basis. I would say Our problem is they're hitting it after our hours, and cutting the locks. And I mean, locks are not cheap out there for those locks, right? What we have done, our new vehicles that we have in our fleets now have cruise lights, which then mean the red and blues do come on, and they don't flash, but they're red and blues, and we do make patrols to be highly visible. We've had major requests through our contracted service to have this as well. That way we're visible. So when people actually look out their windows because someone's driving past at that late hour, that it is one of us or the RCMP driving through.
Okay. Mike?
Do we, like, I know that transfer station on 777 there, didn't they hit those, they drilled the tanks on those graders not too long ago. Do we have any security cameras or like with motion detection and stuff on these sites, or is that something, because after hours, then at least you would get, like, someone would get notified so we don't end up showing up in the morning and all the diesel's been drained out? Would that be something to look at in having, or maybe it's already there?
So we do have cameras in place right now that monitor that. Does it get directed to our dispatch or anybody's cell phone? I cannot answer that question because I didn't install them. But I think Greg might have.
Greg? Yeah, go ahead, Greg.
more info on that.
So yeah, because of the activity in a few of the div yards, and I would say div 1, 2, and 3 are kind of our public works div yards, which receive the most problematic clients, so to speak. So we do have cameras at our div 1, 2. We do not have internet service at div 1 and 2. So in order to review the cameras, we do go to site after it's happened and download the data, provide it. So we do reports every time to the RCMP. We provide that data when we have it. The files essentially die on the vine about that point. Often the vehicles these people are using are stolen. Often they're wearing face masks when they're in the cameras. You can't tell who they are. We are starting with our latest one. We're actually looking to do a bit of a social media campaign and go, do you know this truck? Do you know this guy? And see if anybody will rat them out. But I don't know how far that would go. It's been problematic, but we have been trying to do things so cameras are installed. My next phase is to try to get budget to get internet so that we can do more of a live service, and maybe the RCMP or our CPOs are dispatched. I'm nervous about using our own CPOs to dispatch to a criminal scene because a lot of these criminals do carry many weapons. Our gentlemen do not. So I would rather see RCMP response, and that is problematic in our large county. It's just how do you get them there fast enough? So we are trying, Councillor, but there are some challenges. Further to your first question, I'm going to kick you over to my fellow GM here because he manages the waste stations and some of the things they've done there to try to deter issues.
So for the Highway 43 East Waste Commission, at your next meeting on December 15th, this will also be an agenda item just to talk about some of the problems we have protecting that site as well. And from that, we can extrapolate that for discussion on all our transfer stations. It's been a problem for for as long as I've been here, and it's just, I could say, getting worse as well. So it's something that needs to be addressed, but I mean, it's a problematic issue for all of Dallas's staff and for us too. And so they've been very proactive when something happens during working hours, but when it's 1 o'clock in the morning and somebody's got a quad and sneaking through the bush, it's pretty hard to be following them around, right?
Okay, thank you. Well, Barry.
Two questions for you. What's your average response time to criminal activity versus, say, a bylaw infraction?
So there's a difference there. Peace officers don't investigate criminal activity. What
Okay.
we can do is deter that activity. So, I mean, driving past your driveway at night with our cars or an RCMP car, the general public doesn't know the difference. I think it's important that we do fly the flag to deter criminal activity and to make sure they're aware that we're around or get out of here because they're here. So again, to answer that question is we don't investigate criminal activity. The key point here is the ratepayer needs to, or the county, which we do, needs to report this activity. Yeah. If it's reported on a crime mapping system with the RCMP, even if it's stolen jerry can, this gives us tools to get more operations or more people on the ground, RCMP or us, to mitigate these problems. If it's not reported, and that's what the general public is doing right now, is they're saying, it's a jerry can full of gas. What the hell? I'm not going to report it. It's important that we do, because those stats do play part on how many officers we do get in this area, regardless if it's RCMP or ourselves.
Okay, what about bylaw complaints, like animal infractions and something? How's long does that take?
So again, with the dispatch line, it comes a lot quicker, and it all depends of response time. So, and that's what you're asking about, is response time. We could have someone way out in the west of our county here, which might take an hour or 2 hours. If it's a simple dog barking complaint, well, you know what, we're not going to respond as quick as we are. I mean, a lot of times there's other issues that we need to deal with. But I guarantee you that ratepayer should have a call within at least an hour if it's possible for them. That is my standard with my guys, or even quicker. But the nice thing about with dispatch is it's reported and dropped down to the person's vehicle immediately. So the officer that is responsible of taking that call, the nice thing about that is I have it, each one that comes through my phone, as well as a manager. I could see if it's been responded to or not, which makes that time easier.
Okay, I got one more thing. Have you guys looked at the cell network cameras that send you pictures live as soon as it's happening, or video?
We do have 2 in our fleet. The problem again, we haven't really turned on the notifications on that for cell coverage.
Okay.
I know Public Works has utilized them quite a bit in their settings as well. I know my department have sat on these division yards, back in the bush, waiting for those times. I've sat in some Public Works yards, Division 3s, prime example, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, waiting for someone to do that. Years ago, we did have a cell camera up on those divisions. It caught more other things than just the criminal. The problem here is like Greg has said, is majority of our crime is being done with stolen vehicles and plates, right? So, I mean, we're making bounds and leaps by, if it was, emailed to me, I hop in my car to scare the person away or apprehend them, because we can do that as peace officers. We can arrest for criminal activity. It's the risk factor that allows us to arrest that person. What's happening in our county is the same individuals.
Yeah.
Is what I'm going to say. There's a group of them. It's not just someone just coming. They're moving from our county to another county. They're local. Our team has cleaned up a lot of properties. We've ran in, and our tires have been spiked with the RCMP. We've run into, pipe bombs, you name it, to deter our operation of cleaning up the property or coming onto the property. These people move around. I mean, to prime example, we just did one on 642 in your area. He is now residing in Onaway, which we just had cleaned up that property here, but they're still staying there until they get kicked out. These people just move, and it's the same individuals.
No, like I said, with the cell camera, you get instant notification. And then
notification is key, 100%.
You can dispatch someone right away. If you see somebody entering the yard with a torch or something, you might want to, you'll have it within 5 minutes.
My officers have written several tickets in these incidents where we roll up on a transfer station, Hillcrest, we trespass a person, write their $400 and some odd ticket, ban them for life from the facility. If they come back, we arrest them, remove them, write them another ticket, or write a summons that gets them in front of a judge, and hopefully that stops that way.
Okay, I just thought the cameras would be quicker to get responses for stuff.
You're not wrong with that. However, again, I'm going to caveat, I'm not about to at 2 o'clock in the morning deploy our CPOs, who are not actually on duty at that point in time, to these sites. Most of these people are not nice people to deal with. It's the RCMP. And so it's again, how quick are they going to be there? Are they coming from Mayerthorpe to come to your area? Where are they coming from, and how fast can they be there? These guys aren't spending hours on these sites. They're popping cans and going as fast as they can. But it is a problem, and I welcome solutions. I think our next solution is to get some internet at our Div 1-2 yard. Then we can, because that's our prime target yard, it seems to be. Notably, it's right next to a transfer station. So it's a gold mine for these people that are doing this activity. But then we need to move strategically and with a plan. Again, I don't feel comfortable with Dallas responding at 3 o'clock in the morning alone. These are not nice people. Yeah.
Well,
this discussion, sorry.
it's okay.
This discussion's happened many times with senior leadership and how we could rectify this problem. Even if we had the cell coverage there or the internet there, and notification did come to one of our officers, our first thing that would happen is 911 call, from our own officers, or our backline call, making sure they're aware of what's taking place. you know, or hop in a vehicle and roll by, or meet the RCMP at a meeting point and to go in together. I mean, we've talked about this all, so it is in further discussion at this point.
Have we considered using a security firm? I think the most affected landfill would be the main landfill, is it not?
No.
No? Okay.
There is Hillcrest and Division 1 and 3.
And have we considered hiring a security
Before we
firm
go any
to
farther, I have to
operate?
excuse myself from this conversation. I'll be in the room when you're all done. You can talk with me.
We'll step into security end of things here. I'll give you a prime example. We were out at the pilgrimage this year and they had a security company that was protecting property right across the road where they were entering into the pilgrimage. We made a few traffic stops, checked on a few vehicles, and one was a security vehicle. Person was sitting in a passenger seat watching TV. Okay. We asked for all of his information. Information was provided. Gentleman had no driver's license, had no insurance and no registration. Our officers then wrote our tickets, seized his vehicle, and contacted the security company. The next evening, we had a vehicle sitting there again, and that person had no registration and insurance. There's several security companies out there that are not worth the weight in gold. Prime example, we had security around this building. The alarm went off. I responded from myself by Illinois. We had Tanny Vanderwell coming in, and our security company was wearing boots that was untied and had no clue what the hell was going on when I arrived on scene. So to answer your question, I don't think a security company would be the solution at that point.
Okay, just to add to that, I guess my response would be who vetted these people, the security companies. And number two, I know it's a great deterrent when used properly. Security is a visual deterrent. Was somebody available to be at a landfill site and to be able to float to the other landfill sites, possibly with the use of cellular cameras also, I think would be a great deterrent.
Okay.
I've worked on these systems before, like I know the new building getting built in Onaway's got a different company out there. They got like the little mobile station. And it's got cameras on it with AI and stuff. The last outfit I actually contracted to, we put these in on numerous hundreds of oil field sites because same thing, they would, go in and smash cameras or steal stuff and whatever. So we had that kind of thing. We put cameras in, they got 24-hour monitoring. They got, and then we put beacons in with red and blue lights and stuff. And we do there, I could probably dig it up or get the guys that I used to work for to dig it up. And, there is some footage of them actually, like when the alarms and sirens go off, they actually book it out of there. I mean, I don't know if they have it or not, but there is mobile units we could maybe look at too, like maybe and have like one mobile unit. Maybe we move it around to the worst case stations and try it and see if it helps. Might be an option.
Again, that is a budgetary item, and I think our security and internet is done by the GM department. So.
Right.
So just further to that, I mean, anything is possible. It's just going to be cost prohibitive. So we had a concrete crushing program down at the main landfill, which we'll talk again at our December 15th meeting. And we paid for a private service at $30 an hour. So if you look at from the hours of 12-hour shift, you're paying for that every night. So you look at 8 transfer stations, the main landfill, I mean, that's going to become cost prohibitive to have somebody sitting in a car at all these locations every single night.
Not at all.
No, I think what he's saying though is you put up like monitoring stations and you'd have one person driving around. If it gets a signal that there's somebody in it, he drives over there, not 8 people monitoring 8 places. I'm just saying if you're losing tens of thousands in a month from these places, if you paid some guy $3,000 or $4,000 to save that, it makes sense, right? That's what he's saying.
Yeah, I hear you, but it's a cost discussion again.
Good thing we
Correct.
got a budget coming up.
Okay.
I truthfully think that, we should, do a little bit more research on our end and senior leadership's end and maybe come back with some solutions to you guys. Whether it's changing my team's hours, being out later or hiring more people or vice versa. But I think we could come back with a little bit more information for council and maybe provide you some data that might show you different things.
Okay, again, I think a very good discussion, and I think that that is a good way to move forward. We're not going to make a decision here. We've got lots of ideas, and I think we give it to staff to come back to us with some options, research some of the options and come back to us, and something that we can have a discussion with when we approve our budget as well.
Excellent.
So I don't think we need a whole lot more discussion about this right now. So just before Dale comes back, then if somebody's wants to make the motion to instruct staff to come back with options on possible security monitoring of our properties. Barry makes that motion. Discussion? All in favor? Carried. Yeah, go grab it. Do we need in the minutes, Trista, why Dale left the meeting?
We don't need a specific reason. I just want to confirm it's a pecuniary conflict, correct?
Yeah, okay, good enough. Just so that's in the minutes. Good. Thank you. All right. Okay.
We will move on to our next page. I just want to add to that. It has nothing to do with, so you can sit in here. A lot of what's happening in Lac Ste County and other municipalities as well is that we do have give it or take it at our transfer stations, which poses an issue. And we see it throughout our contracted service, like Woodlands County and their municipality as well. This invites those people in, right? And having a public works yard or a yard next to it just brings them even further in. So, there's another option we will bring forward to you, whether we do keep, or is that a good idea still to have those give it or take it at some of these high problemed areas?
So just a question, take it or leave it is open to everybody.
Right.
So why wouldn't they come in when the thing's open?
It's
I mean, they
kind of
can
funny.
take
So,
whatever they want.
I mean, we
Legal.
rolled up on vehicles, parked at the entranceway or parked in there in the evenings. These individuals that are in there don't even have a clue we're parked by their vehicle until we go on a walk and grab them. It's all about the copper. It's all about the aluminum, right? So they're going after the cords. It's not helping the average Joe that needs a microwave or dryer or vice versa, because by the time they go get these items, the cords are gone, right? All the wire stripped out of them.
Oh.
That's the main purpose here of what they're going into steal.
All right.
Is the copper. It's not the items itself that they want, but a lot of them do get the items and sell them online or leave them on the side of our roads and in, dead end roads, ditches, or vice versa. The big focus here is copper and aluminum.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Okay, fair enough. Answers it a little bit for me. I guess thieves don't necessarily make sense how they do stuff. So.
No, at a funny point here is we did talk to one individual that had copper in his pickup, and I says, why do you do this? How much money do you really make? And he says, in the evening, hitting transfer stations and collecting copper, they'll make $400 to $600 an evening.
Oh, wow.
So,
Oh, well, there you go.
I mean, they're out all night. It's crazy.
Should hire them. Should hire him.
All right, moving on. Sorry, guys. So my next chart is showing you a list of our occurrences, our status, or reports that do come in, where they sit on being concluded, non-concluded, voluntary compliance, or charges being laid. So I'll let you schmooze through that. Now, these incidents are not provincial statutes. This is just bylaw. So our team works very hard to work with our ratepayers and to achieving voluntary compliance. And my team is awesome at doing that, but I'm just pointing out that we do work with the ratepayers to the bitter end until we have to go in and take action.
Good.
Any questions on that?
Question? Keep going.
Excellent. All right. So I just want to point out, I have the next one. This is a tally from year to date. How many files my officers have attended to. This is not tickets. This is again, occurrence reports, complaints that come into the county, from 2023, 24 and 25. I just want to show you how the call volume is going and how more busier we're getting throughout the years, moving forward. Any questions on that? We've attempted this year already have 1,070 files just of occurrence reports. That's not including our tickets. That's complaints coming into our complaint line or via email or senior leadership.
Keep going.
Excellent. So the next page I wanted to show you guys as well, just to make you guys all aware, my team is contracted to 8 different summer villages or municipalities. My team is allocated 225 hours between these contracted services that we provide. Our contracted services provide $86,000 per quarter for Lac Ste County, with an estimate of a total of $345,000 brought into the county just for our services provided to these municipalities. Any questions on that one?
Yeah, just a comment. Excuse me. Thanks for keeping us safe.
Yeah.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Barry?
That's great. The number looks good. What does it cost to run you guys for a year?
Sorry?
What does it cost to run you guys for a year?
Again, if we balance it out with our contracted service and our ticket revenue, I would say very minimal compared to any other department here. We've tried, what our goal is for our department and senior leadership is to actually be self-sufficient at certain.
You're trying to at least break even kind of thing, right? Between vehicle maintenance, vehicle costs, officers, et cetera, et cetera.
Our department has made significant changes happening in January, to be honest with you, to save costs to our ratepayers. That was our biggest concern. And the biggest question is, if we brought someone else on new or more officers, what is it going to cost us? And by sharing vehicles now and by sharing computers, we can't share gear, unfortunately, but by sharing all this equipment is going to actually even bring us down more cost to the county, but also provide us the capability of bringing more officers into the county and at a less cost. Where we run into problems previous years or even this year is when we bring in an officer and suit them all up, right? We put all this equipment on him, put him into proper training. Not only that he's gone through the Solicitor General, but our training, making sure he knows the county, our bylaws, our policies and procedures. By that time, it is a significant amount of money that we're investing in these people. And then all of a sudden, bam, they're gone. So that's where we're running into issues previous years.
No, I appreciate you looking at ways to save money and make things work. Thank you.
I do think though that, and I'm sure that'll come in the budget, where we have a partial budget for enforcement services where all the expenses and all the income is there, so that when we actually look at it, we can see what it's costing us, or if you're making us money.
That is a Carla question. Right now with the budget, like I said, yes, it does show, but you could probably explain that a bit more.
Carla, I do believe we should have a partial budget for enforcement services, which includes everything, not just a part of the cost.
Yes, we do have a budget in there. One thing that, and we'll talk about that a little further when we're going through some of the budget documents and training here.
Yeah.
All the costs are in there with the exception of some of the maintenance on like fleet. The fleet side is maintained under the fleet. So some of the vehicle costs and that we have to look at showing that in the enforcement cost as well too, because that's not showing.
Yeah.
But we're going to find a way to make sure that everything's in there.
Try and get that out.
Yeah.
Because I think for us to understand everything and where we allocate funds, we have to know where the funds are being spent and income on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we can look at things like we do want to control it in the fleet budget to make sure that we know what's doing everything with fleet, but we can look at things like such as internal transfers and everything to show that cost. But right now there is a specific budget for the enforcement services that will show all the relative costs and revenues coming in.
Right.
And I just want to say as well too, we do with the municipality contracts, we do transfer, I believe it's 40% to a reserve directly for enforcement or assistance with future capital replacements, that sort of thing. So
thank you.
I will bring to your attention that our officers as of September of this year, end of September, we are capable now by the province to enforce primary highways. So
Oh, okay.
ones, twos, Highway 43, which could be a huge generator for the
What do
county.
I actually have to watch now for you guys too when I'm?
100%, sir. We are watching closely. We have all you, right? That way I get one up on you. Hey, I'll squish you.
Sorry.
You touched a little bit on the problem of training personnel and then having them ditch us. Do you have any kind of retention programs set up, and do you have any ideas for any retention programs?
So again, we have bylaw officers out there that want to become CPOs or community peace officers and need to go to the Solgen College or Lac Ste for training. We do. So the county invests in our people. And that is one way we invest. And how we try to retain those people here is actually there is a contract signed by that individual going to the college that they have to pay back those costs if they leave within the 2 years of service. And again, it's on value. So if we send a person to Edmonton to the Solgen College, it costs, $2,800 to $3,800. They do sign an agreement at that point stating that they will, once they're graduated, if they have to stay with us a certain amount of time, which is usually 2 years, and if they don't, then they owe that cost back to the county of the schooling. It's not including our time training as well, or the cost of equipment, but it is getting the money back a bit at a time, I guess.
Okay. Thank you. All right, continue on.
All right. So any more questions of our contracted services or anything like that before we move on? So again, I'm not going to read through this, but you could definitely read through it. I will bring to the attention to council is we do have a dog licensing program. I'm sure you're all aware. This was put in place. It's free to our ratepayers to register their dogs with the county. This was put in place to ease the burden of a kennel facility or getting the dog owner's dog back to them in a timely fashion. As we are all aware, since COVID, it's very tough to find any organization out there, whether it's a rescue or a kennel facility or anything like that, to house dogs because they're just full right up. Prime example here, a month ago, we had 14 dogs that we had to place, which was very difficult. My team worked hard, the staff worked hard to place these dogs for care until we could actually get them proper homes, which we've reached out past Red Deer. We've reached out everywhere for these facilities and everyone is just full to the brim. So I just want, if you're out there talking about the dog licensing, please do, because we've had success stories of bringing your dog right to you off the yard by running your number in our vehicles, taking it right to you, whether we write you a ticket, but we're able to return that dog to the appropriate dog owner. Any other questions? Some of the positive things, you could proactive enforcement, you guys could read that yourselves. What we are trying to do with engage with our public. We are, again, this weekend, working with Mayerthorpe to stuff a cruiser, a police cruiser, for food donations and so forth. We're also doing one in the town of Onaway. But again, this just shows a bit of stuff that we have accomplished, and you guys could go read through it. I won't bore you through it.
Just a question, not a big question, but for the musical ride,
Yes.
The ride wasn't on roadways, so why did we have to block roads?
Parking.
Oh, for parking.
So again, a lot of these events, for instance, the Mayerthorpe Rodeo or even events that we have
Okay.
out here, parking becomes an issue. The Darwell Barn Burner, people are parking all along the highway there, right? So with closing off special roads, with our expertise of talking with the CAO and council of what roads might be utilized better to close down, we will close down those roads to make it safe for the general public to walk up and down, as well as to get in and out of these.
Okay, so it had nothing to do with the ride route. It had
No.
Other stuff. That makes sense. And
All right, staff update on the next page. We'll move over there just so you know what we have. Currently, we have an inspector, which is myself, a sergeant, which is my right-hand guy, and then we have 3 community peace officers and 2 bylaw officers. One thing I will point out, this year we've been short. We have people on maternity leave. We have people taking leave of absence for different reasons. We've played short all year this year. So I want to give kudos to my team and you guys should be aware of it, that, you know, we're keeping up with things and making sacrifices in our own lives to accommodate our ratepayers as well as our contracted services. That is the end of my
All right.
report. If there's any
Well,
other questions.
Thank you very much. Any other questions through to Dallas? Okay, if not, I would entertain a motion to receive the report for information. Mike? All those in favor? That's carried unanimously. Thank you very much, Dallas.
Thank you very much,
Really
Council.
appreciate it, and we very much appreciate the work that you do.
Thank you.
All right.
I'm not sure if I should abstain from that voting. I'm okay on that one.
We did make a motion on the other one
Whatever.
while you were out.
It's fine. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah. Well, you'll be able to read it. I'm just saying that.
Yeah, okay.
So.
Thank
that-
you.
That was a separate issue. Okay, next is solar farms. Trista, are you doing that one?
I will defer over to the Deputy Reeve, who asked that this item be put on the agenda.
So I can speak a bit to this. I brought this forward because I couldn't find anywhere we had any regulations or rules on solar farms. And there's been comment that in one part of our county, they're looking at putting a huge solar farm. And I'm not sure if we have full jurisdiction over it, but by what I gathered at our conference, that if we have nothing, then whatever the provincial government says will go. And if we do have something, then the provincial government will work with us to make sure that, you know, i.e. we're not putting it on good farmland. Two, is there things that can actually happen if the company that's making them goes broke, the equipment's left? Who deals with the equipment? Who deals with dealing with all those types of things? I don't think we have anything, and maybe you can explain if we do.
I'll probably defer some of this to Tanya, who knows our land use bylaw like the back of her hand. We do not have anything specific to solar farms at this time in the current land use bylaw. That does not mean we can't amend the bylaw to include something. At this point, I believe it would be considered a discretionary use, Tanya.
Incorrect.
Oh.
So the way that it works, if you have a land use bylaw, you have permitted and discretionary uses. If you do not have a use listed, it therefore means it's a prohibited use. So the province could not just mandatorily step in and say, this is approved, because it's against our land use bylaw. They would have to send us a referral, of which then we would submit our comments of concerns, is that we don't want it there, or whatever it would be. I have been in contact with one company that is investigating doing a solar farm. They were advised that we do not have land use bylaw regulations. There's two options. They can submit their permit request with what proposal they have, and then we would do a redistricting process and a land use bylaw amendment to add the use within a district, more than likely industrial. You'd have to have it rezoned. You wouldn't want it on the ag properties necessarily, and whatever rules and regulations you would put in. So that's one option, is that you make developer do the process. They pay for those bylaw amendments. The other option is council can direct administration to move forward with proposal of what we would like to see as regulations, and we're preemptive, proactive, so that we have an area where we would like to see the regulations in.
Okay, so we could change our land use bylaw to making solar farms a discretionary.
Correct.
use.
Yes, you would put rules and regulations in of where you would like to see them, what
Okay.
zonings you would like.
So we'd have to put it where, or just a
Nope.
discretionary
Within
blank?
your industrial use, you would amend the industrial district, because there is an industrial district
Yeah.
that has permitted and discretionary uses. So you could change it as a discretionary use.
Yeah.
And then developers would have to apply to rezone specific
rezone,
properties
okay,
to industrial, and then you put your regulations in.
Okay. All right, that's
Yeah.
just a question, Dale.
So is that the easier way to go? Okay, so obviously it's not.
It's not, it's
Yeah.
either or.
Right.
Do you want, at this point in time, it's a financial in that you have to have a bylaw amendment. You have to advertise where it's going to be zonings that you would potentially draft it for. Because it is a county-wide amendment, land use bylaw, you would be only advertising on the website in the local paper. You wouldn't be doing a direct mail out. Only to direct adjacents that are industrial zoning, they would get a direct mail out. If you make a developer pay, then we have an application fee for redistricting and a land use bylaw amendment. So then those costs are directly borne by them to the application fees.
Okay.
So then it covers the cost of the advertising and your public hearing.
So, but that's only, they would then, let's assume
Yep.
for a minute,
We got an
made-
application.
We've made solar farms a discretionary
Yep.
use on industrial area.
They would still have a redistricting application.
They still need the redistricting, which is at their cost.
Correct.
Yeah.
But if you make a developer pay, they have to pay for the redistricting application and the land use bylaw amendment. Each application is
Yeah,
a $2,000.
Then our land use bylaw amendment would be specific to that property. So we'd
Nope.
have it every time it comes.
No, you would add your district. You would add it as a use in your district, but your rules and regulations regarding solar farm, you would do as a one time because you would put it into the land use bylaw as a section.
Okay.
Which is what we did in 2024 for solar itself. So so the original land use bylaw was 2017. 2019, we had was when it was approved. And then in 24, we added an actual solar energy installations specific to any use that somebody just wants as a personal use. Because we didn't actually have solar prior to that, which meant that if you as a landowner wanted to place solar, we couldn't approve it. So Lac Ste and County did a number of amendments and added solar energy as a use.
But that only is for individuals, not
Correct.
for.
Not for commercial or solar farms. We did individual use.
So, yeah, I'm just thinking that if we're in favor of allowing
Yep.
solar farms, to me, that would be proactive. So.
Yes. Then are you open for
companies that
business?
are willing to do it, they say it's easier to come in.
Correct.
If we don't do it, they say, well, why
Yep.
bring something here? So that's would be the discussion. But Dale?
Well, and my concern was that without any too much forethought into it, I don't want to see us in situations where we've had to deal with it, the
Right.
Municipal Planning Commission, where things have fallen apart and we're left holding the bag.
So this is my solar farm.
That was
there
my
are-
point about bringing it
yeah.
up, and I know there are residents within the county that in different pockets are against this. And not just simply, they're severely against it. So to be proactive, I would like to see us create something, here's exactly, if you want to do a solar project commercially in the county of Lac Ste, here are the things that the county of Lac Ste requires, A, B, C, D, whatever. We've done that. And we can go through that at the Municipal Planning Commission, I believe, get that started. That's what I'd like to see.
Yeah, I don't know what the process is. Is that through Municipal Planning Commission? I think that's as council.
Both.
Correct.
I think it's a bylaw.
The
so-
bylaw
yeah.
change would have to.
So
be
that's
council.
got nothing to do with
Correct.
municipal planning.
Okay.
Municipal Planning Commission has to make decisions on the bylaws.
They have to adhere with the regulations placed in the land use bylaw.
Yeah, right.
Trista?
So just for clarification, if the MPC kind of sees that there is a similar or consistent issue coming to them, they can make recommendation to county council
Sure.
to review that
Yeah.
piece of the bylaw.
Yeah,
And that's where I was coming from.
That's absolutely, yeah. Mike, you had something? Or-
Oh, I was just gonna say, it should be like the oil companies where they have to put a levy on for cleanup after the life expectancy or whatever. I'd like to see that in there for sure. You know, so that gets, that it gets prepaid.
Yeah.
So the money's set aside that in 5 years or whatever they go broke, that you can clean it up or whatever, right? The environmental side of it.
Any further discussion? So what's your wish?
We need a motion to change to the bylaw.
Well, are you making a motion? Okay, tell us what it is. Oh, you're not making it.
That's a suggestion. for the
Yeah.
motion.
I'm prepared to make motion number 2, that the county council receive the discussion regarding the development requirements and permit approval process for solar farms for information and further direct, excuse me, administration to incorporate the feedback as discussed and report back to council at a future meeting.
Are you okay with that? Yeah?
Yep.
Okay. All right, you made that motion?
Yes.
Dale? Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried unanimously. All right, thank
Thank
you
you.
very much. Okay, next is corporate services. So finance. Is that Carla? Go ahead.
No, that's fine. I know this was brought forth from council to on the frequency of financial reporting. Right now, I mean, it is very true. The last report that I provided county council was up to the end of June 30th, and it was presented on the August 14th meeting. I am behind. I am a little bit short-staffed. I'm not making excuses for myself because this is important and it is about transparency for the ratepayers of Lac Ste County. So I'd like to see council's views on how often these reports you want presented. The main big financial report that I present, it is very, it takes a lot of resources to review and go through and make sure everything is all good and to develop. Now, I guess how frequent do you want reports, I guess would be my one question. What is council thinking of? Quarterly, monthly?
So just historically, you've done it every 6 months.
I try, it's supposed to be every quarter, to be
It's
honest with you.
supposed to be every
It is,
quarter.
and I have not been
Okay.
doing that as
All
well.
right.
So I'll be perfectly.
Good. I just want to see where the policy is at right now.
I've been failing at that. I'll
Okay,
be honest.
Good enough. Dale?
So, and that policy is current, right? That just, if that's what it says, 6 months?
Yeah, it's
No,
quarterly.
3 months.
the
Okay.
thing is
Quarter.
quarterly, so.
The reason I brought this forward is this is, I'm not being derogatory or nothing like this, but this is the only organization that I've ever been involved with that I've never had a monthly statement of knowing where we are, what we're doing, where we are with the budget, if we're over, if we're way under, and what's going on. So that's why I brought this forward. I personally think that if myself, for sure, I need to understand on a monthly basis where we are, and I definitely need to know where we are with respect to the budget as well. I think that's prudent for us being good governors. I can't. We have to be able to substantiate stuff, and when we're 6 months behind, it's very difficult. We might make decisions here that say, okay, let's do this, but oh, we're already over budget, but we've already made the motion to do it. Now we're putting us farther behind. So I think in order for the whole team to work better, and I know you're stressed for time, but maybe we need to organize something different so that we can get monthly statements and we can get monthly budget.
Also, I'm very happy to say that we have hired our finance manager. They will be starting on Monday. So that will be definitely a big assistance for this to occur. And I'll definitely strive to make sure that this report is coming forth to council definitely more often than it is now. I mean, it has to. I know that. I understand that completely. I hear you. We can take a look through the training module of different ideas and how council would like that presented. I don't have the last report that I presented for August 14th. But maybe that, I mean, I can do a standard capital report every month. That's pretty straightforward and easy to do. But the operating budget, how do you want to see it? How do you like the details you want me to provide in there? We can go through that process, just something that's going to be good for council and good for the transparency with the ratepayers of Lac Ste County as well too.
So you must have in-house monthly statements.
We do. Administration reviews it. There's budget reports are emailed to the managers on a weekly basis, and the capital variance report is emailed on a monthly basis to managers to review. And I do review the budget all the time to make sure that if there is things going over that we're getting close to getting over, I'm notifying those managers to be mindful, careful what's going on. If it's going to be substantially over, or if there's another purchase that's come up, make sure that's going to council for motion for approval. So
yeah. So anyways, I
it is monitored.
agree with Dale, by the way,
And we can,
that having
I think Bo wants to say something.
yeah.
So what I was gonna say was
Yeah,
there's
do
two ways
Karen.
we can do it. One, we can, one, we can make a motion in council that we want it done this way every month, or we can change the bylaw so that future councils, it's automatic rather than the 6-month thing that's there now. We can say,
Well, it's a 3 month thing
That's
right
right,
now. It's
yeah.
quarterly right now.
yeah,
And as I was saying, I would agree to a monthly because I think it shouldn't be that difficult because it's usually a click of the mouse to
Depends on what
generate.
details you want in there. Like it's
Sorry?
always going, it's depending how many details you want in there too, right? Like I usually go through and I'll monitor and pick up key points within the budget, things that are over or significant things that are, maybe some revenues, like in my report for the June one, it was showing that how the campground revenue was higher than normal. So that was a good thing. So I go through the budgets and line by line, and we have over 2,300 lines of budget. So I go through them all to kind of monitor those type of things to
Well,
see where they're
let's see what you generate and we can work those
'cause I can-
details out later.
Yeah, because I can provide some definite
Yeah.
examples of what we can do going forwards.
I personally would like to see council get a copy of the accepted August 14th financial report for review. I
Yep.
think it'd be very beneficial for us to start getting into the budgeting and understanding where we're at and what we're going to be doing. It also astonishes me that we went ahead with this 540 road project without actually knowing what the financial reports are. And I do believe we ended up borrowing money for that and used money from other sources that should have been, looked at. Thank you.
Okay. You want a motion, Trista?
So just as a reminder, we do have after this council meeting, our training and orientation, which is based on the finances,
Yep.
which will be the budget, eventually the audited financial statement, that kind of thing. So Carla can go over some of that stuff. I lost my other point, sorry. I don't know.
Okay, I think that's, it's very timely. We'll go through that this afternoon and then we can further discuss it as to what it is. But I think it's a fairly clear thing. I think from council that we will want regular reporting, whether that's monthly or quarterly. We will expect that in the future, but we'll just have to figure out the details on it. Okay. All right. So
I'll make a motion. We do option 1. The county council received the discussion regarding the frequency and the format of financial reporting as information and further direct administration to implement the reporting process as discussed. Make sense?
okay, I think that's good. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried. All right. Then purchasing policy, Dale?
Yeah, so I brought this forward because I kind of felt it was very vague. I had some questions with respect to tender times. And I also have a little bit of discussion that I talk about when we receive them at the council level. we received them in the form of tender A, B, and C, and D. And then we have explanation on A, B, C, and D. And I think it would be worthwhile for county council to see who A is, who B is, who C is. And then at the final process of the winner, I don't believe that it's necessary that we see anybody other than A who was the winner for the amount and the dollar value. So I found that strange. And then I also found 12.6 strange, which appointed the CAO as the only person that could be judging the appeals of somebody, which I don't find that, it doesn't sit well with me. I think it should be somebody other than the CAO. That's my comments.
Okay, I don't think the rest of us have that document in front of us, but
Actually,
is there any discussion? Otherwise, we'll just take that for information.
and then adjust it, or are we gonna talk about it?
Krista?
I'm not sure of the date, but I did email the policy out, I think last week sometime. So all of council should have a copy of it in their emails.
Okay.
We're just having some difficulty. I can't pull it up on the screen.
No, it's not on the agenda. Well, regardless, I would think, let's put that on the agenda for our next meeting. So we can all, we know it's on the agenda, we go through it. We appreciate you bringing it forward, Dale.
Yeah.
And then we'll see,
Be prepared next time.
yeah, be prepared to, because I don't think right now, I actually do remember reading
Yeah.
through it, but I didn't copy it off and looking around, I don't think anyone else has either. So,
I remember seeing it.
yeah. So let's do that. So if you want to make a motion that we put that on the agenda for the next meeting.
Just for clarification, do you want it on the December 12th meeting or the next GMP meeting, which would be January?
Maybe for the governance and priorities meeting. Yeah. It's not critical this month. No, we can put it on next governance priorities.
Critical to get it on the agenda.
Oh, absolutely. So do we need a motion for that, or is that just making a note of that? Is that fine?
I would
Do you
make a
want a
motion,
motion? Okay.
just to direct
Someone make
administration
that
to
motion?
include it.
That it goes on, Mike moves that we get it on the governance and priorities agenda for the January meeting. All right, all in favor? Carried. All right. Community engagement, fire services grant application. Brent? I got the name right today. There you go.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and Council. How are you guys doing today? Awesome. So I'm in front of you guys today to looking for direction, council's direction to apply for a Wawanesa wildfire prevention grant for the total of $20,000. The grant would be used towards putting a portion of that $5,000 towards our pre-action specialist crew wages, which is funded through other grants and other means. And then the bulk of that going towards building a wildfire public education program that involves our families and youth, and kind of going beyond what Fire Smart Alberta has out already. The last part of that grant would be for creating Fire Smart. What do we got here? Vegetation management toolkits. We found in the last year our property assessment program through Fire Smart Alberta has been dwindling a little bit with the numbers of people asking for a Fire Smart assessment. We've seen them almost cut in half. We are a couple years removed from major wildfires in our county, so that's probably what's going on. Looking at creating, an incentive program or incentive package, like a draw, to get people more involved in having these assessments done. Basically like hazard assessments for their properties. And yeah, to kind of sum that all up, the grant is 100% covered. The only input from Lac Ste County would be to utilize current membership, PPE and equipment already purchased and owned by the county.
Okay, any questions to Brent?
Yeah. So what are the tools?
We have, so last year through the same grant, through Wawanesa, it was a $15,000 grant that we were able to purchase a couple still power trimmers, pole trimmers. We also have a wood chipper, rough cut mower that is towable by UTVs that we already have. So we can go to county owned properties as well and to do our part to implement the Fire Smart principles. So instead of us finger wagging our public, we can show them we're doing our part to keep our community safe as well.
So the program, the $1,000 one where they're
Oh, yes.
winning the vegetation management tools.
Yeah.
Those are the hand tools?
Yeah, we could, I'd like to make it the best bang for our buck, so to speak, to be able to either we have to decide if we're going to go 2 kits, 500 each, or do 4 kits for 250 each, and so on, and see what's more beneficial and what people are needing. If it's going to be, we can get a couple chainsaws, smaller chainsaws, and draw those off to people to help them out, or it's smaller items, like many smaller items to help them out, like hand tools, like actual like non-powered hand tools. So that part isn't still in its infancy and its planning stages, but something to give our public some help with doing the work.
So the Fire Smart property assessment is volunteer, or do we go out?
It's volunteer and it's free. I think what might put some folks off is the word assessment at the end of it. But at the end of the day, they would call in or email in and do an online subscription form. I would contact them. We'd set up a day that we would go out to their property, walk around, do an assessment on all the outbuildings, and it basically makes them a honey-do list. This is what we can do. This is a recommendations on what we can do to minimize the risk of fire on their property.
Okay.
Council, excuse me, I would just like to add, the assessment program is only possible because we applied for, through the Forest Resource Improvement Association, consecutively in consecutive years for grant funding program. That helps enable us to send and fund that without any expense to the county. That does end in 2026. And we will have to reapply in order to do that. So there is a cost to the county. That's part of the budget process at this point through our casual program and through the 19 trained assessors that we have as part of fire services. And that includes, of course, Deputy Chief Sanderson and myself. And the intent of that assessment program is to allow the ratepayers that are getting their assessments to get an understanding of what risk is present to, or from, encroaching wildfire to their property, and the simple things that they can do in order to mitigate the risk. About 75% of the total 7 principles of Fire Smart can be done at home by anyone, with the simple application of tools by removing flammable fuels, from the immediate zone around their homes. And so the idea is with the assessment program that's done in conjunction with Fire Smart Alberta is to give them a report that they take. It's their report. They go back, do the work, and then they can call us back out to verify that they've done the work. And when they've done that work, they can then use that report for their next insurance, assessments. They can go to their insurance companies. There's 4 to 6 insurance companies now that are actively giving discounts to those ratepayers that have implemented the Fire Smart principles. And so that's where this lies. This program through Wabanesa is something that that insurance company, they're one of many that are doing this and supporting Fire Smart, is in alignment to assist us in doing that, so that it is not necessarily a burden to the local council.
Okay, thank you, Randy. Any questions? Barry?
What does it actually cost us as the county to do this program?
It's cost neutral. So we ensure that. So any wages that we pay directly to that, the only cost that we don't account for in the actual program itself is the incidental costs of fuel and the use of of the truck to take the people around. But the labor itself, labor costs are covered. So if you wanted a number, we'd have to get that. I'd have to go back to council to give you that that number.
Question you is, if the numbers have dropped, that people aren't really concerned about this anymore, why are we doing it? If it's already dropped to less than half, you said, from what it used to be, it seems like people aren't interested in it.
Yeah, and that's what I'd like to do is do different programs and try to expand that education. We did in 2024, we did public information sessions where we went to the legions, we went to the community halls, and we hosted a coffee and a presentation type of thing. We had very good turnout for that. We feel that, and we tried to do it again, and the numbers dropped off significantly. So we were trying to reevaluate on whether we, hit it too many times, like try to get the same group of people. So it was like a Monday evening or a Wednesday evening. So maybe we try to do things on weekends. So sorry. We're expanding our thought process on how to reach out and engage the public and educate.
My question here, are we beating a dead horse? Like, it looks to me like the engagement's not there. We're throwing county resources at it. If it's a dead horse, it's a dead horse.
Randy?
Counselor, fire prevention is a key component to public safety. If we do not attempt to do fire prevention programs and invest in fire prevention, we will pay for it in response. We will pay for it in property loss, and we will pay for it in lives. The statistical fact, nation, is that for every dollar of prevention program, you save $7 in ultimate costs that are either borne by the ratepayer or the people around the ratepayers, and therefore through to the taxpayer. So that's what we're trying to accomplish with this program. To your point, there's no doubt that there's a challenge with getting to that. But as we can right now, what we're attempting to do is to ensure that it is cost neutral, so that we're funding this not from the ratepayers' pockets, but from external sources. So as long as we have some grant programming in place, then we will do the physical stuff. The biggest impact for sure is vegetation management and fuel removing. And so it's an important aspect to county council's promise to the ratepayers that they're going to, especially for property that we own, like our municipal reserves, our parks and rec, our campgrounds, things that we control directly, that we're doing our part in order to ensure that we as a county are embracing Fire Smart principles. So a point of fact, it should be leading by example is what we're trying to do. The moment that looks like it's going to cost us in terms of resources, time, commitment, we'll come back to you and then choices will have to be made if we want to. But for right now, our recommendation would be to continue propagating this program because the national stats don't lie. Environmental and climate change is very real. Wildfires, we were lucky last year. We didn't have a significant event. The later report will tell you how many times we rolled. And, you know, we don't track actual property loss costs because we simply don't have the capacity to do so. But I can tell you that with property, business interruption, and just the overall fear of wildfire is very, you know, is very real. So we can't answer why, other than that we need to get out more to educate and kind of populate in our areas that we can. In a manner that the information can be accepted. So those are the strategies that we're trying to work on through better public engagement and improvement. You know, that doesn't cost us anything other than, you know, administrative time to ensure that the proper communications is getting out there. As point of fact, last year, the pre-action crew, last summer, it was over 1,200 properties where they dropped off, you know, pamphlets, that kind of thing. And I'm frustrated, like you would be, where we got almost zero uptake in terms of either they're doing the jobs and they're, you know, they're already fire smart, which could be perfectly understandable, or to your point, they're not interested, and why continue to be a dead horse? I really believe that it's a fundamental flaw in society that people don't do the work that they need to do. But the county does need to take a leadership role to ensure that we're doing our part for fire prevention initiatives.
I'm not saying not to make the county properties fire safe, not that at all. But if people aren't engaging, you're spending time and energy, and you're getting no results, doing the same thing over and over and getting the same results is kind of, you know what they say about that, right?
Understood.
If I can comment on that a little bit, there's another program that they haven't mentioned, but it's the Fire Guardians, of which I was part of until I got elected. And that is, I think, a very valuable tool that we have where our Fire Guardians go out to sites. And I know we were instructed to do it. I did it all the time, that when I went and gave out a fire permit, I would discuss with the homeowners of what to do for fire smart. Now, we're there anyways, and I think it's a really, really important tool. And I've noticed a difference in people when you talk to them. They then understand. You give them credit for those that are doing a good job. You mention, hey, these are a couple of spots. They never did their official assessment, but I think it makes a big difference. And if we make sure, which I know you're working on, to train our fire guardians to do that with every time they go out, costs us nothing because they're there anyways. And actually the fire guardians are fairly well respected. At least I think they are. I know I thought I was. And they're fairly well respected and welcomed. And so I think it's really, really important to use that. And if we can get them the official assessment, great. But you know what? As long as they improve their place, that's what's important.
Well, that's all I'm asking. But if the fire guardians go out and you assess a permit or whatever guy applies for fire permit, absolutely go look at the situation. But I think it's a lot of people are worried about government overreach coming on their properties and dictating what they should do. And I think that's a big concern. So I'm just saying there's other options. That fire guardian program sounds like a great one.
I think it's important. I know I get a lot of questions too of why do we have to get a permit in the winter? And I explain it exactly this way. And you know what? Just about everyone agrees it's not a problem. Not everyone likes getting a permit because they want to light the fire this morning because it's raining. And I don't want to have to get permission. But usually when you talk to them, they're okay with it. So I think it's an important part. And I know it's a cost to the county because there's no charge to a permit. So that part of the budget is a cost, but I think it's a very valuable result. Ed, and then Paul.
On your property assessment, so the numbers have dropped. So maybe redesign or configure the program so you don't spend as much time and resources to that program. Keep it up on your social media, the website, all that it's an option to have these property assessments done. And then put that into your green space fire sparring is what I would recommend. Right? It's definitely a value added tool, the property assessment for the people that want it, right? And if that's down, stop wasting, you're not wasting, but stop spending resources on flyers and door to door knocking, that stuff, right? My
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah, definitely appreciate that. And there's like this program is fairly with Lac Ste County is fairly in its infancy, where we're massaging different ways and different. We've had 2 seasons doing this with me here, and it's just trying to get different ideas. And social media aspects is really good. A lot of people have it, some don't. It's just seeing what we can do to reach out to people, and we just don't want to be leaving people out in the dust, so to speak.
Bo?
Yeah, I agree with Jürgen there and Ed as well. I think it's a great idea to do more educational stuff. As far as the grant money goes, is it applicable to that?
Yes, it is. The grant application has specific to, I actually talked to the grant administrator yesterday and our grant coordinator, Shiloh, about this grant. And we talked over the ideas that we had, and the response from her from Wawanesa is that she was like, wow, this is a really cool idea. So this is, and Wawanesa has been really, really good with just working with us too. Like last year's grant, we had some different ideas come up, and they were very receptive to them, and like they were fantastic to work with. So
Okay, good. Mike?
Have you, like, on your Facebook page and stuff, have you listed, like, or can we list which insurance companies give you a discount if you do get the asset? Maybe people don't understand that, I don't know if it doesn't necessarily needs a percentage of what it would be, but if, Wawanesa is one of them, if you get the assessment done, you get a discount on your home insurance that might entice people to look into it more.
I would imagine if it's allowed to advertise for that, we could. I don't know I'd have to find out about that.
Might have to talk to the insurance companies. I mean, as an insurance company, you would think they would want that, because if their assets that they have insurance on, if they're, Fire Smart should be a savings for them too, if you ever do have a fire roll through, right? So.
Good suggestion. Okay, anything further? Move ahead. Oh, Randy, not too long.
Nope, not too long. We're just a comment. We are doing some work on our Farm Fire Smart website. So if you're not familiar with farmfiresmart.ca, I encourage council to have a look at it. And we'll always take recommendations. It would be great to have your input about what that looks like. Okay?
Thank you. All right, continue, Brent. Oh,
Quick answer to the insurance companies. BCAA, the cooperators, and Wawanesa. They're the current ones that are giving discounts.
I would struggle with cooperators. I asked them and they said no.
Yeah, that's what I
But it
thought
would be
too.
something to look at, make sure we
Don't
can
believe everything you read
publicize
on the
that,
internet.
you know what I mean? Before we advertise it on our Facebook page, make sure they're, maybe we can talk to them, they're the ones that actually do, so we don't overstep.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Dale. Okay.
If there's any other questions?
Oh, all done?
Yeah.
Okay, so, motion, option 1 or 2? Or something else? Option 1?
Yeah, I'll go option 1.
Okay, support the funding application. Okay with that? All in favor? Carried unanimously.
Thank you, council.
All right, thank you very much, Brent. All right, fire services third quarter report. That must be Randy. What's that? Oh, you want lunch? Are you hungry? How much we got left here? Just a minute. Ooh. Well, you want a break? Yeah, okay. You okay with breaking for lunch? Okay, let's adjourn 1:45? 1:45? 12:45? All right, 12:45, resume.
that's missing that you want to know, please let me know. We can endeavor to provide information so that you have up to date for whatever. This report started, I believe, back in 2017. And there's been many versions of how we report to council. So we do this for your insight and the public as well. So it's absolutely not set in stone in terms of the format or information that you would like. So let me know if there's anything that you would like to see as we go through. It's a fairly short report, 10-pager. I will just take you right to the bottom of page 2 of the report, which basically just to point out our vision. The county has a vision and mission statement, as you're well aware. Fire Services does as well. And it's our commitment to protecting our community through your direction and governance. So our vision is giving our communities exemplary service while sharing the responsibility with our citizens to develop a safe environment. And our mission is dedicated to enhancing and preserving the quality of life, property, and the environment through education, leadership, partnerships, and effective, timely response to all emergencies. So the third quarter is typically our second busiest quarter. We provide stats and at the end of the year, we will summarize every quarter for you. So that gives you insight typically as how we do it. We had a total of 176 responses to 140 emergency events. Right off the bat, I just wanted to, there's a difference in the number because our responses is per station, is expressed per station. So there's multiple stations potentially going to a single actual event itself. Typically speaking, what we do is we will give the number of responses per station. East Fire Station usually carries the bulk of our responses. It's a very busy area in the east end of the county, and that was true to this day. Just to highlight that all the county stations are individually and usually very busy. Sometimes it can be seasonal in nature. So you will see wildfire responses and things go up typically for our smaller stations where they're providing tanker support, such as Station 3 Rich Valley, Station 7 Cherry Hill, Station 4 San Guido, where they will provide more responses due to that. Another thing that dramatically affects our responses is our medical first response program. And so and that's expressed in the actual response types below. So each station is noted. I'll also highlight Station 6 Marathorpe. It does not include the town responses with town units in there. So I can provide that information subset if you're interested in that, but the town carries its own because that is a jointly operated station, and I'll be pleased to answer any questions if you have them. The types of events this go around, we see a typical drop in our wildfire brush response, but we still had them because it's been a fairly dry year. It was a dry fall. And so we see those types of fires. We had 18 of those. They were, I would say, non-significant in nature, meaning everything from fairly small, less than an acre in size, even smaller than that. We had a couple that were in the 100-acre range, but because of the lower temperatures, they don't become explosive, but they still require a sufficient amount of staff and assets on them. We saw structural and vehicle fires and motor vehicle collisions. All of those are on par with our normal stats. Then we started to get into our medical first response, which is another significant portion of our responses. Between resuscitations and those medical first responses, we were pretty much on par, about 20% of our responses in that quarter. And then all the rest of the calls that we get, another significant portion is usually our alarms responses and our smoke investigations and false alarms. And they're typed differently due to just how they're coded in the system when it comes through dispatch. There were 29 incidents of the 140 that required assistance from multiple Lac Ste stations. And the average number of personnel responding from any station to these was 5.86. And that we bring you that stat to give you an understanding of what typically is available across a period of time in terms of our volunteer personnel. And we do that so that you gain a little bit of insight as to, we want to see a minimum out of each station, with the exception of medical first response and smoke investigations, a capability to respond to at least 2 units from any given station at any given time for the bulk of our emergencies. So having 5.86 responders to be able to do that is it's an encouraging number. It does mean that we've had in the third quarter a higher degree of availability, and it's not something that we typically control over a 24-hour period. Our volunteers, as you probably can appreciate, they're working or they have family commitments or that, just other things that occupy their time. And so across the board, we have 116 on our roster right now across all 6 stations. Our average number that are available during the day are anywhere between 25 and 35. And that's typically consistent all year. And that's across the entire county, which is 3,000 square kilometers, as you're aware. So that stat does include any time that headquarters response, or myself or Deputy Chief Sanderson, we respond with 1. That does throw the stat out a little bit because it usually draws it down. But if you take us out of the equation, that stat usually comes up. The other big stat that we track is our benchmark times, and it gives us a cross section. Our response objectives for the county across all stations for 3,000 square kilometers is from the time the 911 call is received to the time that the first unit arrives to any place, anywhere in Lac Ste. County from any station is less than 20 minutes. That includes drive time, shoot time, assembly time, all that, 80% of the time. There is a National Fire Protection Association community protection standard that is based off of. And it's a rural fire service standard, which says NFPA 1720, which is a number that's assigned to that standard, expresses a 14-minute response time 90% of the time. So if you're meeting that standard, but that does not take into account the geofence or the landmass of a county. That is an urban centered response. So if you took Mayerthorpe or Onaway as an example with a fire station in there, and the volunteers live within that station, you can shorten that response period. That does not take into account significant drive times to a farm or an acreage that's distal away. I am very pleased with the stat. We've been able to maintain that stat. We're one of very few counties that has sufficient a number of fire stations and a sufficient number of deployable apparatus that allows us to effectively get to a point of emergency in under 20 minutes. If you look at a county such as Barrhead, our neighbor to the north and east, they have a single station, a large, anything that they have that's distal to that, it's more than a 30-minute drive time. And they do have some of those calls. So we're really happy that we're able to maintain that stat. So this quarter, we were under 20 minutes for that, 18 minutes and 41 seconds. And just by comparison, when we track it annually, it does support us being able to maintain that service level. So we're routinely seeing under 20 minutes in that respect. And that is substantial given the staffing model that we have in Lac Ste. County. There are things that do affect that. So as I said, 80% of the time, we do have casual staffing and a casual system available depending on the station. They help us with logistics support, and we have that as a budget piece in our operations budget. When they're available and can leave immediately from the station, obviously that's a time saver. We have a lot of our volunteers that occupy stations more of a routine basis. We have gym facilities, i.e. in 3 of them. So anytime that we have members at the station, that number drops. But conversely, bad weather, and depending on the station where a group of volunteers don't necessarily live within a catch basin, 5 minutes response time or less to the station, we will see that number rise. Is there any questions so far?
So, couple questions I have. You're not reporting the incidents that we have with the municipalities that we have agreements with.
That's a little bit later on in the report.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's expressed as part of our mutual aid
Right,
assistance.
thank you.
Yeah.
And the second question that I have, is there any way for you to break out if this is a highway related call or not?
Yes. So anything that's so specific to highways, we can break out the primary and secondary highways versus county roads. No problem.
Okay,
So I can do that.
thank you.
Further questions? No. Continue.
All right. So next, what we like to report to council is the activities as far as the training is concerned. We just express it in a number of hours that is dedicated. Within our current compensation program for our paid on calls, they participate in all forms of training with the exception of their initial onboarding, absolutely free of charge to the ratepayers of Lac Ste County. So when they show up, we express it in an hourly piece. And the amount of people that are coming to the stations. Typically, these are weekly drills or weekend training that we do. And then at the end of the year, I typically would run a bit of a cost savings. Not all municipalities are able to do this. Conversely, Parkland County, they pay their paid on call staff for every hour of training that they do. And it's a substantial cost to the ratepayers there. And there's varying degrees of ideology around that. Our staff are wonderful people that we're delivering the training, we're providing the facilitation for training, we're providing all the equipment for training as part of our operational cost, and they provide the time and dedication in order to do that. There is a substantial amount of hours required to be a firefighter and a first responder in today's world. If you add it all up across all the disciplines that we provide in terms of your level of service right now, annually speaking, we could be doing anywhere up to 500 to even 800 hours of available training. Of course, per person, it's almost impossible practically to do that. So we're happy when we can get a firefighter to attend any weekend and or drill night training, and we can get 100 to 150 hours a year of them doing that. And we do enough repetitive training in our system across the various disciplines. So that's either firefighting, that could be medical first response training, so that they're, like first aid, advanced first aid, those types of things. Hazardous materials awareness and operations training, and a variety of rescue related training, so our motor vehicle collisions. So quite a substantial amount of training happens. So all told, we had 62 training sessions. And if Deputy Chief Sanderson, if I'm missing anything, training falls under his purview, just let me know. We had a total of 156 session hours. We did over 139 subjects during that for a total amount of staff hours of 1,594. We have an average across the stations of 10.5 attendees per. Some smaller stations will drop that figure, but I'm pleased to report that the smaller stations are typically able to have more training availability, i.e. if we have a station that has 8 personnel, we typically see a higher degree of participation by percentage. So we'll see 6 or 7 in those cases. We're happy. Our minimum standard is a 33% attendance rating, which allows for participation and allows for us to assign roles. The more training that a person does, or the more specialized they are in a discipline. So as an example, truck operations and driving, they need to attend those specific performance requirements more often than if they're just a general support personnel. And so we track that as well. The casual shift summary is below. We had a total of 63 shifts out of 3 station locations with staff hours of 224. Staff totals of 224, and those are shifting in and out. Those are operational periods. Our total staff hours were 1,812, and we had an average of 3.75. We cap our shift hours to 8. And we had an uptake in quarter 3 In the summers, we see typically less, and that was offset by our Fire Smart crews. So there wasn't as much of a requirement, and they come out of the same budget. And that number is quite a bit higher just because the wildfire pre-action specialist crew shift, that's how we track their hours. That was grant covered. So that's part of that there too. So you'll see that number significantly drop in Q4 as well. And then the mutual aid. So we expressed this in to Councillor Johnson's question. We expressed this in to outside agencies. And we will need to, we can give you the actual, like if you want down to the subdivision, you know, like we can track in terms of that. So the actual mutual aid into Onaway as an example is not in this table, but we can give that as part of a report. Similarly with Marathorpe and that kind of thing. So
In my perspective, I believe that'd be important because we're billing these people a fee, and we need to make sure what we're billing them is correct.
True. And just so that you're aware, we provide reports to their councils as well for our activity there as well. To each council, we provide service to. Excuse me. Alberta Health Services is by far and away our largest mutual aid too, because of our medical first response program, and there's a definite need in Lac Ste County in terms of timely first response with respect to the lack of ambulances that they sometimes get, deployed to the city. We're seeing that stat relax a bit. It was particularly bad in the last couple of years. This year, there's been some significant changes in local service delivery. We're seeing it primarily out of the east, where the Alberta Beach and Barhead buses tend to be more available. We're still seeing some staffing issues from EMS's standpoint of view out of the Marathorpe station, but we're seeing improved cross coverage from others like Evansburg and Whitecourt. What that means with that specific level of service, there's about 800 call types that we could conceivably be co-responded to, of which anything life related is an automatic. Otherwise, we have a 20-minute, anytime that an ambulance is more than 20 minutes further away, we would be engaged as the local service provider. And the reason we pick that number is because that meets our average. If we're also going to be further than 20 minutes away, we keep our resources for our primary level of service, which is fire response and motor vehicle collisions and that kind of thing. So we've seen a substantial amount of requests from Alberta Health Services just due to a lack of available EMS that was immediately available either by that time quotient or because it was an automatic, i.e. a cardiac event, in Sangudo as an example. That's an automatic.
Question on that
yes,
then. So is our department capable of BLS and ALS services?
No, we don't do BLS. We do advanced first aid. So that's our maximum level of service. Very close to BLS in terms of that, but you have to have licensed PCPs, like primary care paramedics, in order to provide that service. We do have staff that are trained to that level, but they're not routinely available. So we don't state that as part of our service agreement with AHS.
Thank you.
And then we do, from time to time, require mutual aid from outside agencies for a variety of reasons that can be expressed, like here we have AHS where we requested them for standby response for a couple of structure fires. That's a routine thing, so we record that stat anytime we're asking them for standby work. And then in any other organization. So we would have assisted with Marathorpe Fire Department with the engine that we have there. That's expressed as a request from the town of Marathorpe in order to help with those services. And then Barhead Fire in this that last quarter required us a couple of times as well. And then one of the final tables is just an apparatus usage. We feel it's important to know. We have 22 first responding apparatus currently across the 6 stations. We have a number of support apparatus as well. Council needs to know they're basically used for almost every event that obviously goes to, but it's differentiating depending on the type of event. So our response program segments specific apparatus types that go to specific events because they're built to function purpose. And so you'll see our frontline engines, anything that's an engine is a frontline structurally capable fire engine. Anything that's a tanker is a water supply unit. Anything that's expressed as a rescue or a squad is rescue, motor vehicle, or medical first response. And then wildland is for wildland and brush vents. There are some units, for example, like Station 7, where their wildland unit, it's the only unit that they have in the station, it's the only light unit. It will roll to virtually every call type that they get dispatched to, either as a crew carrier or they have medical equipment in the truck as well, and they can break off for wildland calls as well. And then we have a number of side-by-sides, and anytime we were doing any water rescue and anytime boat usage is there, we express that as well. Are there any questions there?
No. I don't want to be asking all the questions. What happened to engine number 2?
Engine 2 became Rescue 2, so we repurposed the truck.
Thank you.
Further questions?
Okay, and then the final is our community engagement, or Fire Smart and public engagement. We expressed this quarter, this is just a simple listing of what our stations are doing in the community. So of course, this quarter we finished off just with our wildfire pre-action specialist crew. They were out and about. They attended the On-A-Way car show. They did a Fire Smart presentation. We did an On-A-Way out of school presentation. East Station did kids presentations in Sunset Point, Canada Day fireworks, as well as Station 5 at the Darwell Fair. Station 6 also did Canada Day festivities. So we were fairly busy at the start of the year. Then we try to hit all of the events and have a fire presence, so the Darwell barn burner, those types of things, we typically provide support for those and any of the other summer events in the community that we can do. So that's pretty much what fire service was doing in the third quarter.
Thank you very much.
And then you're missing all the fire prevention and fire safety at the schools was all canceled due to the teacher strike. So none of that happened this fall.
No, that's part of the final quarter report, just because the teacher strike kind of, and none of that was scheduled before September 30th. So that'll all be in the next report.
Okay. Anything else? If not, can I have a motion to accept this for information? Ed, all in favor? Carried. All right, thank you very much, Chief Schroeder. Okay, moving on to administration, county manager. All right, so we're first application for a nuclear plant here right beside this building. Do you want to comment on that, please?
No, thank you.
Go ahead.
So we received a basically a survey from the ministry looking for the municipality's information and response to exploring nuclear energy in Alberta. And so the deadline for municipal response is December 19th, 2025. And so they're asking for us to submit one response as a municipality. So it is here. If you want to take it back with you and provide some feedback to me, I can compile the information instead of hashing it out here in this room today. But if you provide it to me by the 12th, then I can put it together and represent a finished document to council, or we can choose not to respond as an option as well.
Well, most of this is just a response in terms of name and everything, isn't it? or the survey?
They are asking for some information. So how do we envision our role in nuclear energy in the future as a municipality? They're asking for barriers and challenges around nuclear energy. So there is a little bit more to it than that.
My question would be, do we have anything in the land use bylaw?
I don't think so.
I'm going to guess no. I don't know, but I'm going to say no.
I think we should make a check. And or create.
Yeah, I did attend that. Who was with me? You were there too for the nuclear presentation at the RMA, or not? Were you in that? I was in there. Who else was in that? Was I the only one? Maybe. It was a presentation by a minister as well as I think it was a professor that knew something about atomic energy. And so it is certainly something that our government, provincial government, is talking about. And it's, you know, it may be something that we want to develop a policy on, whether or not we are interested at all in one of these small nuclear reactors within our borders or not. If we're not interested at all, I think we should let people know. If we are interested in it, then we should also let the provincial government know about that. So it's a matter of, I think, having a discussion about it. And I mean, this is long term. This isn't going to happen overnight. And in fact, they're saying, you know, the closest that anything will be built in the province is probably more than 5 years away. But it is something, if we are at all interested in that being part of our industrial development plan, then we should talk about it and see whether or not we're interested. And I know it'll be controversial for sure, like many other things are, but it is, I think it's our duty to discuss it and come up with a policy. Not today, of course, but at some point in time. Anyone else have comments on that? So in terms of this, I didn't actually open this up, this survey. I couldn't find a link of where that survey is, or oh, I guess there it is, Alberta Energy Engagement. So I guess, can we do that individually, or do we do that as a council?
They're looking for a response as a council, but if you want to send me your individual comments, then I can incorporate them and present them back to you to see if you're, and hopefully you're not all over the page on it.
Yeah. So maybe if we were to take that home and each of us go through that engagement and then provide comments back, and Trista could submit it on our behalf.
December 19th is the deadline.
I know, so it's fairly soon.
Yeah.
There's a webinar, if you look further down, on December 2nd regarding.
Yeah,
the
we missed
stinklers.
that.
So yeah, we missed it. So good to know we were informed.
Yeah.
I can see if they have it recorded. They probably do.
Well, they're not 100% perfectly organized, the province. Like when the presentation was made to us, this is all fluid, right? And so it's probably a good idea that we give some input into it, and then ultimately, like I say, have a discussion on are we at all interested in our county to pursue that. Dale?
Trista, is there any tax advantage? Are we gonna, is it just like when we were talked to with like data centers, we don't, they cost us, but we don't really get much back.
I can't see that there would be a tax advantage, but I could look into that.
I think I can answer that one. This one is a huge tax advantage.
Is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
because it is, as I understand it, this is like any other power
Energy and- yeah,
structure.
right.
It is fully taxed, and so it's
Okay.
it'd be a massive tax advantage.
Then we should get on it.
Yes. Yeah, so it is, you know, if you're looking strictly from a money side, it would be huge, no question. All right, so will someone make a motion that we accept this as information, and the understanding is we all send Trista our input? Okay, Barry? Any discussion? All in favor? Carried. So that's our homework. We have to have it back to you by,
If you have it back to me before Thursday, I could present it to you.
before next Thursday.
Right, because
Oh.
sorry, Friday, the 12th. We have a council
Okay.
meeting on Friday, the 12th.
Oh, and then you could present.
And I could just share it with you
Okay,
there.
all right, that sounds good. All right, thank you. Next, proposed new provincial boundary map. That's for MLA, for Alberta government. Yeah, and so you've all gone through that, I'm sure. Any comments on this, or do you want to make any comments on it, Trista?
I think the document itself outlines specifically what the changes are to Lac Ste County itself. One of the things that I do like about it is that the county is all in one and not split out into multiple. There are some concerns primarily from the northern municipalities on representation. We can definitely provide our feedback as individuals on this one, as well as a council, if we wanted to do that. But the document, the full document is, I don't know, several pages long, and the link is in there. But I did pull out the excerpt specific to Lac Ste County, and they have 7 points, I believe it was, that impact us directly. So those are on the front page of the background. And then I
Dale?
also attached the map that shows where the county lies.
Dale?
So I'd propose a motion
Go
from the
ahead.
County of Lac Ste. That we're displeased with the fact that rural Alberta is losing seats and urban Alberta is gaining seats. And that we write a letter to Jared, however.
Alberta elections.
Yep. Stating that. I mean, every time we turn around, they're chopping more off rural Alberta and adding to cities. I don't think it's fair.
Well, and not actually taking into consideration the ability that they have to use, I think it's 5 ridings or something like that, that they, that can deviate from the population. And they're not taking advantage of that. And so I don't disagree with you,
Did
Dale.
you get my motion? Yeah. Somebody got it? Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Okay, discussion on the motion? Mary?
I agree with Dale. I like what he did there.
Thank you. Any further discussion? I like the motion as well, that because I think what it does to our riding is probably positive. It's not very often, but it's, no, I'm not negative, because I do agree it's nice that the whole county is together and we don't have the city as part of it. Like we've had a lot of urban areas part of us in the past. So we don't have to comment on this, just a general comment that the loss of rural representation when we're such a big part of the economy of the province, and you take the power away from us just because we don't have the people.
We're the major part.
I know. Yeah. So I think that's, it's a very good motion. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor? Opposed? That's unanimous. Thank you. Okay, so do we want to do closed session now, or do we want to finish those council committee reports? Doesn't really matter.
The committee reports will be quick if you want to jump to that.
Okay, let's finish them and finish that part up. Okay, so second. Community Futures Yellowhead East.
I'll speak to all three of these. I got to try to figure out a better way to present the council committee reports because I don't think they need to be individual motions or anything
Okay.
like that.
All right.
But for the presentation for the agenda today, they are separate. So the first one is the Community Futures Yellowhead East Board meeting minutes. So they have provided the meeting minutes of
October 16th.
Here you go. So they are there for your information.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if council representation has been able to make their last meeting. We typically will only put the minutes on once they've been approved, not their draft minutes. The next one is the the Lac Ste County Library Board. So again, those minutes are from September 22nd. They're the approved minutes from that board. And then the last one is the Northwest of 16, the tourism group. And this is their newsletter that they put out in October, I believe. It's their November newsletter, sorry. Oh, right. And Greg has a piece on LSAC. Do you want to speak to that or do you want me to?
Yeah, I want to add to your system there was LSAC, and it stands for Lac Ste Lake Isle Water Quality Management Society. And I attended a meeting here on this past Tuesday, December 2nd at 7 p.m. just via Zoom. Since that, I also previous council had, when this committee was devised, had instructed administration that we would be on the committee from administration. And then the committee just kind of stumbled a little bit through the election process because all municipalities were under election. And then when it came out and they had their first meeting here on Tuesday, what we learned is almost all of the adjoining municipalities that are on the committee all have council representation on the committee. So looking at our last org chart, I believe Councillor Knish, you had signed up for that committee. So I'd like to get handoff to you and involved in that. So what is it? So this past summer, your phones, our previous councillor phones, our phones absolutely blew up with the lake levels in Lac Ste. It's been a drought year and dropping levels and discussions around the infamous weir, all those things. I'm not going to open those can of worms with you guys here today. The committee group formed a committee to study the lakes, and so to study the water quality and water quantity in the two lakes and see where that study takes them, to see if it identifies any water quality improvements that can be done by organizations or determine whether any water quantity constituents or construction works can take place to manage those or whatnot. The big looming question around those is, number one, the province through the Water Act would mandate any approvals for anything that needed to be constructed. And they would help us with that. Oh, God bless them. However, the big outstanding issue with that is if something ever was designed or put forward to be designed and constructed, who pays? I guess I would look at our phone blow-ups over the last year or 2 year here. Everybody seems to look at Lac Ste. County as Big Brother, but this is a huge undertaking if it ever comes of it. So what I would like to do is bring Councillor Knish in. Did you provide them my email there? Okay, so I forwarded the meeting agenda and minutes that came from the past meeting, so I'll forward to all of council. Trista will send those out. We'll get you up to speed. They're going to meet almost, so monthly was the priority to meet for the committee. At the end of the meeting, they also said, well, why don't we have a touch point at mid-month, whether it's a 5 or 10 minute or 15-minute conversation meeting, but the most part it would be once a month. takeaways, concerns I have moving forward. And again, it was just the start of the meeting. It looks like this committee is trying to do the report themselves. Maybe I'm mistaken, but it does look like that. And that was the feeling I had. I would caution that. I think it should be a contracted expertise portion, because at the end of the day, if we have to look for funding or if we have to look for water quality or quantity approvals with the province, they're going to want to make sure that a lot of the technical data is ticked off, and I don't want the report to become null and void because we didn't go down that road. When it was originally kicked off, they were looking at a grant to pay for these things. Now, at the last Tuesday's meeting, there was nothing talked about it with the grant, so I'm not sure where that's at. But I welcome you, Mr. Knish, in getting involved. One recommendation I would maybe have is maybe it's 2 members from Lac Ste, a counselor and an admin, because we do have skills here that can help guide some of those things as well. But I do believe one of you should be there. All other representations have counsel on them right now.
Okay, thank you, Trista.
Just for clarification, the piece that Greg is talking about is a subcommittee of LSAC. So you're already appointed to LSAC. This is, what do they call it? LSAC WQ2 project. So it's basically the Q2 is quality and quantity of water. And so it's a subcommittee. So really that's 3 meetings in a month.
Okay, you want to comment, Bo?
Yeah, I would like to suggest that if any other counselors would like to sit on this, I think it's a pretty important committee to be on. I think surface water rights are going to become a huge, not rights, but surface water in general is going to become a huge issue for Lac Ste County in the near future. And there is going to be provincial funding available and other things that we can look at. So I believe that being a part of LSAC would be a great advantage for council.
I currently sit on wild water, and I'm not that I want another job, but it might be advantageous. And I'd like the rest of council's opinion.
I think wild water is different though, right?
It is
I
different.
mean,
Wild water is
yeah,
different.
it's
but
very different, yeah.
I
It's
believe
not
that,
surface water.
no,
yeah.
no, but I do believe though that there might be some things that are
Some overlap. Yeah.
tied together.
Yeah.
If you want to do it.
No, I'm glad you're taking it, but I believe wild water is something entirely different, right? Yeah. Yeah. But, you know, so
Somebody else.
can we put 2 counselors on there as well as the staff?
I would suggest not. It's not our committee. We could ask, but I would suspect that they are just looking for 1 representative from the county. So even with council and admin, it would be 1 voting person at the
Oh,
table,
that's
which would be
fine.
council
Yeah.
and admin just for some support.
Greg? Oh. Yeah. So, I don't know, maybe why don't you go to the next committee meeting, suggest that we would like to send extra, and if that's okay, and get that approval.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, and we've got a volunteer, so we're good. All right. Krista?
Because it is an appointment to a committee, we probably should have a motion to that effect because it's
Okay.
a committee of the committee. And then the other 3 items can just be a receive for information.
All right. Someone want to make a motion to appoint Bo to that committee? Yeah. I can. Oh, Barry. Discussion, all in favor? Carried. All right, and then we should have a motion to accept all of these committee reports as information. Mike? All in favor? Carried. All right, so that's it for our meeting here. We will just adjourn and not close the meeting but because we'll have to come back into session, so we'll just need a motion to move into closed session. Mike, that we move into closed session, all in favor? Carried. All right. Okay. Welcome back. We're just finishing up here, so Barry made a motion to come out of camera. That motion is carried. And then I need a motion to adjourn the meeting. Barry again.
You can simply adjourn. We don't need a motion to adjourn.
We don't need one.
No, you have the
That-
power.
I do, but I just wanted someone else to have some power too. So the meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.